Smoke, rocking with Phoenix fresh rhymes, they stronger than no. About to break it off with the illest of crews, led by the man Tony Wang, making his vision come true. Now let me take you on a ride. We got love for cigars, from the east to the west, only the brightest of stars. I screen in the scene, little guy with the shop, shadow gazing around. You know where they gonna stop. Cigar mechanic don't panic when he's repping his brand. For Vescarillo and more, smooth as sticks in the land. Hashimoto's around, jumping live in the chats. Asian orange and more, his button's famous and fat. Cigars, pipes, whiskey, coffee, and more. Turbo jetting around, Tim with the dopest of pours. What's that? Huh? One wheel and reviews? Martin in the house, sharing the latest smoke news. Need to pick me up? Get to Southeast US. Bob and Chief in the mix, you know they saying God bless. We got that journey, voyage, private blends for the crew. Celebrating with coins, repping that dope swag too. Now I'm about to sign off, you know it's time for that audit. Light up the group with my post, you know I'll rock it and sock it. But remember y'all, Legion, it lives with a passion. From a man in the shadows, ayo, the SoySauceAssassin. So cut it, light it, love the smoke from your region. After all we connect, it's through the power of Legion.
Hey guys, Tony the SoySauceAssassin. As you can see, I am running late today. And also, we have Bob the Cigar guy on the other side. So today, you know, I was thinking that, you know, our regular crew will be here by now, but I don't know. Today is some sort of special event, ball game, or whatever that you can think of. I don't know. Sometimes there's always an event going, you know, on a Saturday. But you know, I'm not even too sure if today is Saturday. So I'm just gonna pretend today is Saturday, if it's not, and you know, continue our thing. So in the chat room we have James, we have Martina Maya, we have Joe, we have Sherry, we have Mike Clark. Yeah, this is where I wonder where is, like, you know, where's Hashimoto? It's probably traveling. Where's Michael? Probably working. I don't know. And then yeah, I think Travis was the one that made sure to answer Bob to say there is a live today, and now where's Travis? Where's Travis?
Dang that, Travis.
Yeah, right. So yeah, we have Bob today. Very rare. And you know, Bob's usually busy, but you know, I'm pretty sure when he's busy, he's not forgetting about, you know, repping the Legion as always. Every time I look at it, that pin is somewhere. Somewhere there is a pin, right? So, Bob, what's going on? What's new?
Oh, just great. Thanks. Missing the Legion. I wish I could just spend all day hanging out with the Legion and interacting with everybody, because I mean, it's truly my heart this is the group that is different than any other group that is out there. The love and the passion, from the intensity from the beginning to bring it to a place where people just hang out, and then maintaining it like this, it's stinking awesome. I just love everybody in this group.
Cool. Thank you. So why are you smoking today?
I just grabbed never had it before, the Partagas 1845. It's a nice, pretty band.
That is a pretty cool thing. You know, when I first saw that cigar, and that band did catch me because it's so clean. It's like really almost like a ceramic look to it.
It is almost like a ceramic look. You're right.
Yeah, and that really catch me. Then I actually smoked that one because of that band. I mean, everybody knows for me, the band catches me first. Like if the band catches me, I will try it. You know, and that one, even though it's clean, there's not much to it. Right? There's not much design to the band. There is some like embossed shape to that, but all he said is Partagas on it. That's it.
That's it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Today I'm smoking a Core. I think that's what it called. Core La Herencia Cubana. Now this is like one of those cigars I randomly find in my humidor, and I just okay. I have all these cigars that's sitting over here. You know, being a stranger, I probably don't know them. But then here's the thing: a lot of time, you just want to pick up a cigar and smoke it. You don't care what it is, right? It's like, you know, whatever that is, pick it up, smoke it, and hopefully there's something to enjoy within that cigar, right? Because right now a lot of cigar has bands, but back in the days, pretty much majority of the cigar has no band in it.
You're right. You're right.
I wonder how those people identify their cigars, right? Because you can get cigar everywhere. You can go get a cigar in the store. You can win your cigar from like the fair, like games and stuff like that. And then they all don't have band. They just rolled up cigars. And then like how do they identify which one it is? I mean, that was before people start branding those things, right? Because a while back, cigar wasn't that expensive. Cigar was something that was as cheap as a cigarette.
Right, that everybody would smoke. And here's the thing. Most cigar stores, there were a lot of them in the towns, they actually would roll their own cigars from their tobacco in their area. And so you didn't have a lot of blends. You had a light cigar, you had a dark cigar, and that's about all you had. And then it started to do where people were shipping cigars because the cigars weren't humidified well. So shipping them long distances, like from Florida up to Connecticut, they would be cracked and beaten up and all this and that, and then it would be expensive to get them up there. And so people usually just had whatever their local shops were. Kind of like when you're in New York City, you know, every corner's got a pizza place. And so you go to Lenny's Pie if you're on Lenny Street, and you go to Larry's Pie if you're on Larry Street, and that's just the blend that you use. So
here's the thing though, like Boveda Pack, even Humidor are something that's very recent, right? You know, when cigar first started, there was no Humidor, right?
Right.
There was nothing to tell humidity really. There was not hygrometers. There was no way of really control humidity or temperature.
Right.
And people were just keeping the cigar at home however you wanted, like me, like basically like that, just bags right there, right? So, you know, at the time it was okay, and people were able to keep all their cigars the way it is. And I feel like the industry, once the humidor came out, everybody started to go, you must put it in the humidor. You must keep it in 70-70. You must do this to keep your investment the way it is. But then, like, you know, you think about it, back in the day, how those people did it. You know, if it was that bad, everybody will have their cigar ruined every single day. You know, it's got to be as bad as having, you know, bags of salad in your fridge for a week. After 1 week, everything's bad, right? How do people age cigar back in the day? How do you know, people keep their cigar back in the day for long term? I mean, there are people who find a stash of their grandfather's cigars somewhere. Right. Then I remember reading news about somebody found like 500 years old each, like Mayan cigars. Yeah.
And they're expensive, and they were in clay pots. That's how the Mayans stored their cigars, was in sealed clay pots, almost like a humidor kind of thing. Right.
I mean, for clay pot, you can kind of imagine they use it for temperature purposes. Clay pot is porous. They will lose humidity. So it's most likely for the temperature purpose, because clay pot keep good temperature it actually evenly distribute temperature. When you cook something in a clay pot, you know, it's really good. If you've never tried to cook rice in a clay pot, oh my god, so good, so good. That should be the only way to cook. But like, if somebody made an automatic clay pot rice cooker, that's what everybody should be buying. Okay, because it tastes that much better. But like, no one's is doing that. And even today, how many people actually use a clay container to keep as humidor? I don't think there is any.
Not anybody that I know.
Well, number one, it will be too heavy and too expensive, right? Number two, it does not keep any moisture. Clay pot doesn't like to keep moisture. It actually evaporate moisture very, very quickly, right? Like if you wet the clay pot, you'll see it dry.
I don't know my geography like I should, but you know, I'm thinking that down in the Mayan area, there was a lot of the tropical rainforest, almost like, you know, how Louisiana's got humidity all the time. And they aged their tobacco in cedar stumps. They just put rocks on it and they let the humidity ferment it and everything else. So I wonder if the clay pots would pick up the humidity of the caves that they put them in, or in the rooms that they put them in. And the rooms were at 70 to 80% humidity, so the humidity would pass through and just maintain that way. But the tobacco of the old days is not like tobacco of the new days. They have worked on strains time and time again to make them bug resistant, to make them fungus resistant, to make them stronger. But they also work on making them thinner, and they making them like the shade grown, where they make the leaf a lot thinner. I believe the leaves back then were a whole lot thicker and a whole lot hardier. But when you smoked a cigar back then, you see all the aristocracy dip it in bourbon or brandy, right? They did that because they kept the cap wet, because the cap was not humidified and it wasn't dry. And the cigars were not the best cigars in the world, so it gave it a little bit of flavor. But then you hear people licking their cigars. And the belief is the reason they did that is because they didn't want their wrapper to explode because it was too dry.
True. And those are the habit even that happen even today though. There are still people that try to lick their cigars and, you know, just basically engulf the entire thing and then take it out and try to smoke that thing. I don't think it's necessary. And I honestly think, you know, if back in the day they were able to keep those cigars the way they are, and then knowing that they put in a clay pot, like I said, clay pot doesn't like moisture. It actually distributes moisture really evenly throughout the entire pot, and then you can see it evaporate really quickly. Like if you ever had a clay pot, or even something like this, you know, a coffee mug that has clay in it, you just go touch some water, you'll see the moisture just literally just evaporate really quickly. So I don't think that they used to keep moisture rather than to repel moisture, because, you know, back in the day, moisture will destroy everything you have, unless you're like trying to pickle something, right? Moisture will destroy everything because there was no temperature control, right? There is no I guess some sort of like control for fungus and stuff like that. There was no such thing, right? Today we do have refrigeration, we have heaters and all that stuff, but back in the day there wasn't. And I think from that you can also see like how I always tell people that sometimes it's better to be safe and then not worry about that too much versus thing over, right? I always tell people that, you know, don't worry about how much humidity that your cigar have, because you can have zero humidity on your cigar, you can still kind of revive it and you can still smoke it. But if you like, if your cigar has 80% humidity, 90% humidity, that cigar might be gone.
Well, right? You can't even smoke it. The leaves on the inside are so tight you can't get a draw.
Right. So if you put that in consideration, it's actually a lot safer to be less humidified or less less heated, cold, than the other way around, the other spectrum. That's a whole lot of trouble. You know, 80 degrees weather on an 80% humidity, that cigar is on the verge of having a colony of something in there. Right? So, you know, I always tell people not to worry about too much. If your location are somewhere in a livable situation. I mean, when I say livable situation, everyone is different, right? For example, for me, over here, a livable situation is like 50 degrees, right? 50 degrees Fahrenheit with about relatively 35 to 40% humidity. That place is livable, right? But somewhere in Arizona is like, oh, you know, anywhere under 150 degrees Fahrenheit,
Right.
You know, and 1% humidity, we can live there. You know?
Right. And then Travis, where it's got to have 175% humidity. Well, that's bearable. That's a dry day.
Yeah, right. So I guess like what I'm trying to say is within reason, with like the standard comfortable index. Like, you know, there is an index that tells you how much is comfortable, and for house, a humidity of 45 to 50 is comfortable, right? If you have that in your house, you don't really have to worry about your cigar, because if your cigar have at least about 50% humidity, it's safe. It's safe that you can smoke it, but it might crack. You might explode while you're smoking it.
I was going to say it's safe, but it's not going to give you everything it has. You're going to lose some flavor. Your oils are going to be dried up. Your burn is going to, your cigar is going to want to combust a lot faster, which makes your cherry a whole lot hotter, which makes your smoke hot, and it pulls more bitterness. You're going to get your heat up a lot higher, and you're going to get more nicotine for the only reason that it's just hot, because the hotter the temperature, the more nicotine is transferred into your body. So, I mean, I'm going to try to keep mine at 70, but if I grab a cigar and it doesn't explode, I'll smoke it.
I smoke it with this, even when it explodes. So, but the thing is that what I'm saying that is because we have ambient situations. So, for example, if outside is raining, even if you're inside your house, ambient humidity is 45, out there it's not.
Right.
Right. So there is always like a element of change. Right. So long as your cigar situation is not too much of a polar opposite from the outside where you gotta smoke, or from the area you gotta smoke, you should be okay, right?
I agree.
So like, you know, if your house is 70 degrees, your cigar is sitting on the table for 10 minutes to kind of get used to the ambient situation. You take it out to the, like, you know, 10 degree situation and try to smoke that thing. Your cigar is gotta struggle. You're not gonna get the flavor. You're not gonna get the right burn. You gotta get all kind of weird taste, and probably struggle to keep it lit. Right?
And different tobaccos really are affected different ways. Like if you get a Candela that you're in the house at 70 degrees, it's been a nice 70 and 70 humid, or you take it outside in the wintertime, you're going to pop your Candela, or a thin Connecticut shade. But if you go out there with a big broadleaf, or, you know, something that's from Brazil, or something that's from Mexico, a Mexican San Andreas, because it's thicker and it's got more oils, it's willing to tolerate the change in climate. But I agree with you 100%. If I want to smoke a lighter cigar in the wintertime, I'll actually take my cigar and sit it outside for half an hour before I smoke it, and almost like dry boxing.
Yeah, but at the same time, that would actually lessen the humidity, but it makes the cigar more tolerant to the situation. Like I a lot of people know that I keep my cigars either at 45 or 55. You know, because at 65, I feel like even though the meter tells me 65, I'm not gonna trust that it's a 65. You know, it could be plus minus 5.
What do you keep your Cubans at?
I keep my Cubans at 55. And a lot of time, I could tell you that if I go near 60, 65, and if I don't touch it for extended situation of time, I might find 1 or 2 molding. Start to. Because they all have mold spore somewhere, right? The way the factories are is just mold spore everywhere, right? So they are gonna have some. Now, if you constantly touch them, that it should be okay. You know, fresh air introduced, there's no stale air, you're fine. But I don't smoke Cuban all that much. Like, you guys see me all the time, I don't smoke Cuban all that much. It's not my favorite. I feel like, you know, the cigar we have over here there's much more dimension, there's much more selection. There's always new thing coming out, and that's what I like. You know, and
now, are you more picky with your higher dollar cigars, like your, let's say, an Oro? Would you make sure that it's in that right temperature, in that right humidity, a little bit more than you would with an inexpensive cigar?
The more expensive it is, the more expensive the cigar is, the shittier I treat it.
Really?
Yeah. Because for me, expensive cigar are really not worth that price. Okay? The reason why the cigar is worth that price is because you bought it for some celebration, you bought it for some event, you bought it for a reason, right? If you didn't buy it for a reason, then really, it doesn't cost $500 to make a cigar. It doesn't, right? So, a lot of time, I feel like the cigar that I'm gonna smoke every day is more important to me than that one shot. And that one shot, if I'm smoking it, I'm most likely smoking with a friend. And when I'm smoking with a friend for celebrating an event, even if the cigar tastes like trash, it's gonna taste like gold to me.
Right, the event. And this is an event. I get to talk with Travis and Hashimoto. Are you kidding me? The superstars of the Shadow Smokers Legion. God, boys.
I just want to say, I was like 2 minutes late. All of y'all are 20 minutes late. So yeah.
What's up, guys?
Let's see if
What's up? What's up?
I could be as late as I want.
That's what he said. All right, so Bob, you asked me like if I was. So Bob, I told you about my basement is 55 degrees right now after heater have been running for an hour and a half, right? And over here is 38% humidity.
Wow.
This is where I keep my oil. Like, literally, I treat it like crap.
Wow.
See how much it means to him? Very little.
Wait, the one that means a lot to me, I smoked it.
That's because it didn't come from Little Guy Cigar Shop.
That's right.
No, Michael, the one that you guys give me, I smoked it with you guys.
I know, I remember.
Yeah, so it's not like I treat the one that actually have a good meaning to me like crap. It's that. Oh, I screwed it up. All right.
Dang it.
Is that, the one that I bought for my own, I don't really care for.
Michael, slipping.
Yeah, it's sitting inside.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
shit.
Yeah, but how many of you are drinking the Alishan coffee? That's right.
Oh yeah.
How many? I don't know. How many? Shouldn't you know?
I am.
You are? How'd you like it?
Martini's favorite?
It's interesting. It's really like it's fairly floral.
Can you taste the tea in the beginning?
Chief was watching. Chief.
Ooh, look at that SV right there.
Wait, are you talking about this?
Man, I'm an underdog tonight.
You guys are so cute.
Hey, but shouldn't you guys use this?
Hey! What you doing?
So yeah, I mean, what I was talking about. Yeah, so I was talking about how shitty I treat my more expensive cigars, because either they have no meaning other than the fact that it's special, right? Like you save it for a special event, and before I smoke them for the special event, I will go rehumidify them or whatever. But if I'm just sitting here to smoke it, I don't really care for that particular cigar. But if you ask me for something like mid-range, like a Davidoff, Royals or something like that, that will sit in a humidor, and then we'll keep that 55. And the temperature will be about 65.
We do keep humidified everything at Little Guy Cigar Shop.
Boom. That's what I'm talking about.
There you
Fast
go.
shipping.
It's so hot and humid out here. It's cooking my cookie.
Am I
in my
on
hands.
the same screen as Bob the Cigar Guy?
Yes, you are.
What?
That cigar show Tim, man, it doesn't get much better than this. I tell you what, boy. No. Superstars extraordinaire.
I'm in the presence of royalty.
No, not me.
Love me some Bob.
There you
Heck
go.
yeah.
Y'all are awesome. Tony,
Yep.
have you had the Kintsugi yet?
What? Yes, I have. Yeah.
We were talking about clay pots, and I smoked that one yesterday, and the band is gold and that blue, and come to find out the Kintsugi thing is when you got broken dishes, use gold to put it back together, and it makes it prettier than it was as a fractured piece than it is, and it was for royalty or something like that, and that was kind of a neat
Back in the
story they
day,
had
it
behind
was. Back in the day, it was because they were using like gold clay at the time. But later on, it will kind of evolve into a situation where they will use a clay mix to fill it first, and the dust go over that.
Ah,
And when the dust go over that, you get a light sheen of gold outside, so it will be, it will be usable, right? So Kintsugi, right? Kin means gold. Tsuki means continuation. So that's what it means. So that's why kintsugi was to continue with something with gold, and in that they usually use for broken pot or broken bowl, because back in the day those things are expensive. To get a bowl is expensive, right? Average family have 3 bowls. That's all they have, 3 bowls.
3 bowls.
3 bowls.
That's it. So you could only eat like 3 people at a time.
Average family
Big family
consists of
is
3 people.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess so. Mom, dad, limited to 1 kid.
No, that's China.
Oh, what are we talking about? Japan?
Yeah, but it's very normal when you in Japan. You often find, like over here, you often find pack of 4, right? Because that's kind of normal, right? You get a hamburger buns pack of 4. In Japan, they often sell in pack of 3s.
Really?
Yeah, because
That's a weird
average families consists of mother, father, and a kid.
So,
Right.
but they sell it for the same price as a pack of 4 of it.
No, it's relatively fair. And then if you have any, like, let's say, for example, if your family is 2 generation, 3 generation, right? Then you have grandfather, grandmother. Then you buy 2 pack and you have 1 left over, rather than every day you have, you buying a pack that has 1 short. So they
but
feel
why do they sell 12 hot dog buns and 8 hot dogs in a pack? Anybody ever figure that out?
That's the daggone truth.
I've wondered that for years. That's my question forever.
That's for Italian bread for spaghetti night the next night.
But that's
There you go.
because you gotta use the leftover buns to make croutons for your soup or chili.
That's if you got vegetarian friends up.
There you go. Have a fun.
But yeah, in Japan they often set a family meal is considered a family serving of 3. All right. So if you have 2 generations, you'll have 1 serving over. But then if you have that, you wouldn't always have 1 person short. So they figured 3 is the perfect number.
I got kids that eat 3 servings by themselves.
Seriously.
Well, that's because that's why America's obese, because that. In Japan they limit their food intake to 100 grams of carbohydrate. So if you go out there and get a meal, it's like, I want to get a meal, and the meal comes with soup and rice, they will literally weight that rice, make sure that it's only 100 grams of rice.
Tony just insulted everybody's kids and said they're all fat.
If anything,
Welcome
I
to
got
America.
insulted today in Austin, Massachusetts. This white guy tell me to go suck his thing, literally driving by.
Well, Tony, you're not supposed to cut him off on the road.
No, I was parking. So here's the thing. In the road, we have a bus lane. So there's 1 red lane that's for buses to drive, right? Now, when you're parking, you got to be on that bus lane because that's the closest to the side of the road. So, I got in there and I saw cars are coming, so I got in there really quick. But you need to come out again and adjust because, parallel parking, sometimes you don't get that first shot. So I park in there, and this guy just drive up right next to me and says, "Hey, if you're gonna park in the spot, just park in the spot, you idiot, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, this is bus lane. You're not supposed to drive this lane. Go drive the other side. And he's like, "Oh, bus lane, bus lane, bus lane, bus lane." I was like, yeah, this is the bus lane, right? So he left to the front, and I went out again and parked back in, and it was parked. I came out, he parked his car with half the car sticking out of it. His mother's still on the car. And he looked over to me when I came out of the car. I was like, "I thought you tell me how to park, and you don't even know how to park your car halfway in." And then he's like, "How about you just come suck my..." Repeatedly.
Maybe he was hitting on you.
Repeatedly.
Hold
And-
on. I thought the Mercedes parked itself.
He does,
Tony's
but
a
I
bad
don't
driver.
use that. Wait, you guys, hold on. You guys didn't hear me
There you
my
go, Michael.
story about how it ruined my rim because I used automatic parking. So I don't use that anymore. So I came out and then he was all screaming out, and I was like, "Wait, you want me to call the cop? You want me to call the cop?" And he's like, "How about you come over to suck my, repeatedly." I was like, "Oh my god, I would never think that I'll meet a racist in the middle of the street." So he
You
continues,
should
and
have
I
said
just
you
move
gotta buy
on.
me dinner first, pal.
Did you throw a price out there? Come
I
on,
was gonna say, were you wearing a shirt that said $20 is $20?
right?
No, I was wearing a jacket, big jacket, and stuff like that. My wife was like, "Oh no, oh no," and it was raining, so I really didn't have that. I don't really want to deal with this guy, so we just continued.
You should have said, "You got them cheeseburgers, man."
Oh god. Yeah, but I never thought I would be treated like that in a normal situation where all I wanted was parking. And then not to mention, this guy wasn't that good of a park himself, and he literally half the car is still out. And then he didn't even park. He just left the mother in the car, and then just left the car half sticking out the street, and just went to a store asking for some question, whatever. In the end, he left, and after he get back to his car, he was like giving me middle finger and everything from his car. I was looking through it. I was like, really? So I took a picture of his plate just in case. But then he left after that, and then we didn't deal with anything after that. But
you
still,
should have played dumb and flipped him off with the wrong finger, like your ring finger, or something like you didn't know.
he was like about 4 cars in front of me. But
Just give him a big thumbs up.
Yeah, it could have been nice and waved and like, get out of here.
I did with him. I did with him goodbye. I was like, bye, and then I wasn't I didn't know what was going on there, but then I was such in a rush that I didn't really deal with it. My wife wanted to buy her stuff. We gotta go get food. It's raining. That rain today literally gives me a headache because I was walking the rain without umbrella in it. I don't like to carry umbrellas. I don't know about you guys. I don't like to carry umbrellas. So
nobody likes to carry an umbrella.
So if it's raining, I was just like, you know what? I just deal with it. Just walk through the rain and
no
just do
man
everything.
likes to carry an umbrella.
I don't own an umbrella.
Michael just hides under the shade of everybody else.
Yeah.
He's a little guy walking through. Thank you.
Yeah, it works, right? You're like, hey, thanks, appreciate that.
Yeah, it took about 2.5 hours to get food today.
You get one of those umbrella hats.
I have an
Now you're
upside down
thinking.
umbrella. Like the
And
one
by
where you
the way-
close it and it closes like the opposite way.
Very confusing.
By the
It
way,
worked.
Michael, the sun grown is very good to start.
You think so? Not too bad?
I mean, it's
And the
nothing.
assassin blend is very good.
There you go. I mean, it's nothing amazing, but it's not terrible.
No, for the dude, if you knew the price on those, yeah, you couldn't say no to it. You know what I mean?
So let's
Right.
go around right now to
Thank
see who is smoking what. We already know Bob is smoking the Patagas. Travis smoking the EP Carrero Encore.
Yeah, dog.
And then we have a Hashimoto. What's you smoking, Hashimoto?
I'm smoking the Diamond Crown Maximus.
Oh, it's a heavy one.
Oh,
Heavy
ding
one.
dong.
Somebody decided to go
Nice.
heavy today.
Wow.
Heavy.
Nice.
All right, Josh. Why are you smoking, Josh?
The Manifesto.
Holy cow. Is that a mini Woody?
No.
That's a half.
Pretty much.
Mini Woody. Okay, so what had Michael?
Espinosa Laranja Escuro.
Okay,
I
okay.
think
And
that's
then
what I'm smoking after this. I almost grabbed it, and I grabbed this one first.
what? What? So
He almost grabbed me first, but I beat him to it.
$20 is $20.
Hey,
That's what I'm saying.
Amen, Bob. Amen, Bob.
and then we have Tim was probably smoking the short stack, right?
Yeah, I've got the short stack sun grown.
Cool. So I
So
heard
is that
Michael's.
different from the Habano?
yeah, it'd be close to your DE factory smoked sun grown. Because it is a mixed fill.
Oh, okay,
Right.
okay, I got
Yeah.
you.
It's something that I got a bundle of, and I was just throwing them in orders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my wife
Wait.
literally was worried about me getting in trouble today because I was like really at the guy, screaming at the guy, and she doesn't know what I'm gonna do because knowing me, I probably run him over with my car. But I end up not doing
Straight
it.
up, big
Oh,
trouble.
that's how you bring it back.
Yeah.
Brings it back
Pulled
to
out a
himself.
knife like
So-
what was old Kurt Russell's character in Big Trouble in Little China. He had that booth
Big trouble,
knife.
little China.
No, sometimes you just have to get in that situation, and then you gotta ask yourself, what will Bob do? Well, Bob will give the guy a hug, but I'm not that nice. So
Yeah, hug him.
Give him that lung buster hug.
it's like break his back.
Hey,
You
do
should have
not
just got
knock
out of your
the
car
hugs.
and went,
The hugs
woo,
are
bam, where's my hug?
Yeah, right.
the
You're
hugs
awesome.
are the best.
That's
Don't
true.
knock the hugs.
Yeah,
They
but
even all right in high altitude when you can't breathe.
He was the only one that was having trouble in higher altitude. I was loving it. I felt great in higher altitude.
But you gotta know, Travis is already at a higher altitude than you most of the time.
That's what I'm saying. You see what I mean?
Hush.
I got at least like 2 bar on her of pressure in my head as it is.
Okay, so I have a funny short story for y'all, literally short. So I subbed at trade school Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And Wednesday, I was standing outside my classroom waiting on kids to come in, and I actually got yelled at by another teacher because I had my sweatshirt on. And I legit got yelled at by another teacher because I did not have a school-approved hoodie on. And I looked at her, and she saw me, and she recognized who I was, and I was like, I'm not a student. Think so. Because this is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I mean, they've got 7th graders that are like 6'4".
Wait,
And
they
I'm
have a school approved hoodie or sweater?
Yeah, you can't, like, out here, there are uniforms. And so for as far as like sweatshirts and stuff go, you cannot wear, if it doesn't have a zipper, a full zipper top to bottom, you cannot wear it unless it is the school sweatshirt.
They have school approved masks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Masks.
count
They
me
have
out of
to
that
match
school.
your school logo.
It's our whole school system out here. Like, you can't just wear a sweatshirt or a hoodie. It either has to be the school one or it has to have a zipper, like it's a jacket.
I will have give my kid like Bob the Cigar guy hoodie and make him wear it.
Yeah.
Trust me, I don't agree with it. I think it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But I just thought it was funny because she was yelling at me because I had a sweatshirt on and shouldn't have. And I was like,
Yeah, don't everybody run to move out to Louisiana.
I'm not a student. Thanks, so appreciate it.
Hey,
So
y'all,
Mike-
check out how weird this ash is. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a picture of you at some point. and-
You look like Gandalf when you're smoking that. With the little-
You look like you're playing. What is it, like a piccolo?
Zirconi.
Piccolo.
Josh,
Piccolo.
Josh,
Yeah,
that's
piccolo.
what happens when you're smoking your cigar while thinking about Oprah. Josh, that's what happened when you smoke a cigar and then you start thinking about Oprah and you just go. "Whirr."
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, Tony. Oh.
Josh, just admit it. That's exactly what you did.
It's funny because it's true.
Wait, who
Yeah,
did
see?
Who's that?
Man had to go throw up. He'll be back in a minute.
Tony, you offended Matt.
Oh.
He just made him sick.
No, you cannot
right?
offend Matt. There's no way. So, so Michael, you say you tried the coffee. You say it was kind of floral, but did you taste the tea and
Yes.
like what?
You
like,
get it's got like when you have it's almost like a black tea kind of flavor to it.
right?
Yeah, where it's kind of earthy, but it's like a little sweet. It's weird. It's
It's
really
weird, right?
good,
It's
though.
weird, right? It's like I'm tasting tea and coffee. It's
Yeah.
And
weird.
that's that coffee we can never, like that once in a lifetime deal that you got from China, right, Tony?
Yeah,
Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Taiwan?
Yeah.
Taiwan, where's that at? Right off the southern coast of China?
It's close. It's right down the street.
You know,
Oh.
it's the one that's gonna decide whether or not you can buy new cars in the future.
You think I know? I bought enough items from there in my lifetime.
There used to be a lot of stuff that's made in Taiwan back in the day. So, back in the day.
Yeah, like every toy.
But yeah,
Ever.
that I mean, Michael, I'm glad you tried it because I tried it. I was like, I like this. It's kind of weird, but then it's different. It's different. Like you think coffee tastes a specific way, but once you taste that, you're like, oh, you can be this way too, I guess.
Yeah, it's unique. It's unique, not in a bad way. So
Yeah, it's cool. So people can try it. It's for free, so why not?
There you go.
So where was I? So we're talking about cigars. We're talking about the storage of cigars and how Bob asked me how I'll treat a more expensive cigar. Literally, I tell him that I treat those cigars like shit, dropping on the ground
Badly.
and everything.
And he's not lying. That's the God's honest truth.
So I do treat the cigars that I purchase to smoke normally better because I just smoke that normally, right, every day, and I really don't want it to have bad day every single day, right? If I had, smoke those expensive cigars, it's not gonna be every day. So I will smoke it once in a while, and then, if once in a while they suck, that's okay. But, if I'm gonna smoke a regular, like for example, Casa Cuevas, I'm gonna smoke that regularly, and, if I treat it badly, I'm gonna have shitty day every single day. So in the contrary, I treat those a little bit better. I put in the, in a container sealed with some Bovita pack and stuff like that. And
Amen.
What?
Said amen to that. I keep mine the same way.
Right, and then just literally a lot of special one that I bought. Majority of times for the box. Majority of the time I buy something because the box looks good, and then I'll learn. If I just look over, you can see cigar boxes everywhere, and then all the new ones are just down on the floor.
I have that problem too. I got cigar
I
boxes
don't know
everywhere.
who else has that problem.
Don't look at you can't. You cannot even put me in the same universe as Tony.
I
have
didn't
made.
say you. Why do you get so
I have like
defensive?
6
I
boxes.
did
of
not
cigars,
even
Bob.
say your name. You were very.
But you look at me
distant.
now. You locked me on like in the Karate Kid when he was looking at that snake.
Travis,
you locked
Travis.
on to me.
Travis,
So-
when she said that, how did that make you feel? Let's talk it out.
out.
It made me feel oppressed.
Because it's true. And
I've got,
your house is like a graveyard for like cigar boxes and coffee bags.
dude, I've got cigar boxes everywhere. If you guys want
Yeah, the
some cigar
people at
boxes.
the dump are probably like, "What the heck is going on around here? Where's the after party at?"
So for my everyday cigars,
This guy has a problem.
so for my everyday cigars or something that's cheaper that I know I will smoke quicker, I usually minimum will keep it in its bag with the Bovita pack like this, at minimum, right? For something like, and don't say that I'm disrespecting the cigar, okay? I'm not. They just don't, I just figure that they can survive. And like, for example, this Publicity I just bought like recently. Literally, it was just on my floor, and there's nothing in it. I just leave it like this.
Wow.
Bob's like,
But you gotta know that my basement humidity, it's already at, usually in the 40% range, right? And then the temperature is at the 30 degree range. So
Whoa.
they're not gonna go bad. They're not gonna
Frozen
go bad.
cigars, oh god.
Huh?
Frozen cigars, oh god.
It's
like
not gonna
sucking on a
freeze.
stick.
It's not gonna freeze. My problem is that even if I keep them in a container with Bovita pack, every time I go down, by the time I leave this room, it's 70 degrees. It's gotta get shocked over again until I take it upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, so until I take it upstairs, there's no point to keep this in the box because it will just constantly get shocked by temperature, or constantly have this humidity issue. I personally think that these boxes, because they were meant to transport or store cigar for an extended time period, that they're supposed to be safe. I mean, literally, if you think about it, this is how your cigar is transported in the ship.
Oh yeah, and more boxes, and
Yeah.
they don't put humidity in there or anything.
So
Nope.
they can actually survive like this for extended time. Yeah, we gotta go like, oh my god, Tony doesn't respect cigars, but
No,
that's
it's
how
Yeah,
they
my house
transport.
stays at like 58% humidity. I don't even really need a humidor. It'd be fine like that.
Right? I mean, and that's really how they transport it. So you can expect your cigar is gonna survive in there before it goes bad. And my thing is that my goal is to give those away to people before it goes bad. So
Yeah.
And then people can you can see like the ones I smoke that I know I might smoke fast. It's usually here in the bag of the Bovita pack, and and I try to keep it close to me so that I remember to smoke them, because a lot of time if I'm not near them, I just go grab a Davidoff. Right?
It's a bad idea.
Well,
And therein
yeah,
lies
well,
the
that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Every time I see an ad for Davidoff, I'm like, oh, I need to buy that. And they send me like a 2021 limited edition late hours Churchill or Toro. I'm like, what's so limited about it? Oh, look at that box. I want to buy it. I can't help myself. And, I just had to stay away. I had to sit down and I had to look around and say, dude, you have too much cigar. Stop buying them. Leave them alone.
Tony walks to the cash register and holds his money about this high and just sprinkles them hundreds on the counter when he buys them.
Who still carries cash like that? Who still carry cashes like that?
Like that? Definitely not me.
So Bob, like, what is the storage capacity for you right now in terms of all your cigars?
The majority of my cigars, now I have some in different boxes, but I actually bought a bunch of these.
Yeah.
Ammo.
I got them from Harbor Freight for like $5-6. It's got a good seal in it. It holds a ton of cigars. I throw a Bovita pack in this, but now, like, I've got a bunch of different things. Like, one would be for Sunday reviews. One is for Storytime with Squatchy. One is for manufacturer reviews. One is my personal stuff. So I've got it all segmented out in these nice little boxes, so I don't have to worry about it. They stack real easy, and it's just easier to go. I mean, I've got some nice, pretty desktop humidors, but I really don't use them hardly at all. I just use my, and then I've got some collapsible coolers, some small coolers that'll hold about 8 or 9 boxes, and so I keep my boxes in there and draw from those. So just as simple as possible.
Here's the
I
thing,
can
though.
spend money on humidors, or I can spend money on cigars.
Here's the thing, though.
There you go.
Because Bob does like what 2 to 3 videos a week, and then there's a 5-minute video too. There's a 5-minute video, so he does a lot of videos. So he goes through a lot of cigar. For me, I smoke with you guys twice a week, and I probably smoke on my own at best 1 a day. At best 1 a day. When I smoke with you guys, I probably smoke 2 or 3, but by myself is 1. All right, 1 if I
You gotta up those numbers, Tony. I'm like 4 a day on average, 6 days a week.
I can't, because after I smoke a cigar, I need to go brush my teeth. I don't want to brush my teeth 9 times a day.
See, the problem, Michael, though, is the day that you take off is the day that there's down to the nub at 3 p.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. Eastern, and that just doesn't make sense.
That's one. That's one. That's one. So Bob doesn't know this because he hasn't been on the show a lot. But Bob, we have a limit of 2 shameless plug per episode. Okay, 2 shameless plug per episode, and that's 1.
That's hilarious.
You're welcome.
So
well, down to the nub is freaking awesome. It starts off with the fellas, yeah, but that logo is just super amazing, and you know, I enjoy watching them every chance I can. I usually catch them after it's been live, but I just enjoy it half to death. So there's a shameless plug of mine for Down to the Nub, because I'd rather watch him than watch me.
you kind of have no choice but to watch Bob, because Bob, like, you know, when he goes on, all my notifications jump. Beep, 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 beep. My phone jumps too, and when he's on Facebook, beep, beep, okay. You know, everywhere it jumps. It's like, you know, a lot of times during the time where I'm working on something, so I'll turn it on and I'm like, oh, I'm here, but I'm not here. I'm here, but I'm not here. So yeah, I mean, in terms of storage, I mean, for me, I only smoke 1 cigar a day, at best 2, and you know, but I buy cigar a lot faster than I can smoke them. So you know, it gets to like, do you want to go through all that trouble to keep saving those cigars that you probably will end up giving away? Or do you just smoke it as quick as you can? Because having these things lying all over the place, it will remind me to go smoke them. You know, it got to that level. It got to that level. Where like, okay, you got so much cigar, what are you going to do? I'm going to smoke them. I'm going to try to smoke them as much as I can without killing myself. Because that's the way it is. Michael's like shaking his head.
Trying to make up for lost time.
Michael, see, when I go there, I have my fair share, right? You know, that's different. I'm hanging out with you guys all day. When I hang out,
that was once.
But that's the thing. You know, it's kind of boring to hang out with me. So even when I hang out with myself, it's kind of boring. I can't last 4 cigars.
Yeah, hanging out with yourself does get boring.
Right?
I mean, that's almost a textbook definition of boring.
Right? So, you know,
lonely.
I can only smoke so much.
How many personalities you have?
Now, a lot of time when I smoke on my own, I tend to read books. All right? And when I read books, the cigar goes out. I don't know about you guys, but when I read books, the cigar goes out a lot. So, you know, I don't really want to ruin all my cigars that way, because when you relight it every time, it's kind of annoying. Especially when you're reading a book, you got to put it down. You got to just take a puff, and then you put it down again, you're reading book again. And then when you come back, the cigar's out again.
The only cigar I've ever had that stands up to me reading, because I'll get to reading and forget about the cigar, is the Inch. And I don't know if it's because of the ring gauge, but it stays lit for so long. That cigar doesn't just go out. So for reading a book, that's actually a really great cigar. I think I told Brandon that because I was reading the first time I tried it. I was like, dude, this thing has performed phenomenal. I've been outside reading for like an hour and a half. And the cigar never went out.
Just don't take the cigar out of your mouth when you read.
Then I will
Yeah.
have a giant burn hole right in front of my book.
Get glasses.
Yeah, Tony's got to read right next to his face, I guess. I don't know.
See, Chinese books, we have characters, right? Those characters are very close to each other, and they're not this way. We're this way. Okay.
I was talking about reading a different
So
kind of book.
you know, when you read it, you tend to hold a book a specific way. That you go like this. Do I have a book I can kind of demo?
Get you a music stand.
Travis was talking about reading picture books, but it's okay.
Now,
Yeah.
books I
Story
read
time
have
with
no
Bob.
pictures in them.
Yeah.
That's the only kind of books that I can read as well, or picture books.
When you read Chinese book, you tend to fold your books like this. Like this.
To make that heart shape because you love them.
No, because you only need to read one side, like this, at a time.
Is
Right.
that a Chinese book?
This is a Japanese book. I'm just using an expensive, like a
Example?
yeah.
I'm just
So-
using an expensive example. That's what I do.
Yeah. It's like-
So I read it like this, so I can't really like have cigars right here because once you drop, here goes the book. So I read it like this, like literally like that. So I will pick it up. put it
Get you
down
a
again.
music stand and 2 chip clips.
No,
There
but
you
the
go.
thing is that I fold like this because that the line, you gotta keep out where line which line you're reading, right? So you kind of just turn the books slightly to go to the next line without getting lost where you are.
This sounds too complicated.
Yeah.
How to read. Like,
That's way beyond my pay grade.
I will. Hold on.
Oh man. Here we go. We're gonna get a lesson on how to read in Japanese and Chinese and Lord knows
I'm
what else.
reading this.
I don't even know if I can write the word Chinese in English without misspelling it. So reading a Chinese book is out.
Yeah, right.
This is how small the Chinese character looks like.
Good
Yeah.
lord. Need a magnifying glass.
Is that wrote up and down or sideways?
Up and down.
I love how you say wrote.
Do you?
up
Is
and
that how
down.
you read Chinese up and down?
Yeah, vertically.
Hey, where were you?
So go down like this way. Keep going, keep going. This is the end.
I'm out. I quit.
It gets up and down, right to left. Top to bottom,
Done.
right to left.
So you see how you have to keep up with the lines. So you'll fold them so that you just turn the lines so you don't lose the
Okay,
line that you're
now
on.
that makes sense.
Okay.
But like
Where
for
were
reading in
you?
English,
So reading the English doesn't matter
Oh.
because you're going up and down, and the entire page is there. You know, the thing is entire page, right? But this thing is row by row. You got to read the rows. So you roll them up, and then you turn them so that you don't lose which row you're reading at.
It's like
maybe
reading
that's why
Hebrew
when I
but
read
harder.
Chinese instructions, I build things wrong because I read the Chinese words this way.
You know, you can see I have a car in here. Sometimes I use the car to kind of hold it to know which line I'm at. But a lot of time, you know, that's how you read a book. So I
Don't let
can't.
him
My
fool you.
cigar
He
can't
doesn't
go
read
out.
directions.
My kitchen table came out looking like something out of an art museum. It had one leg sticking out the middle. I realized I was reading the Chinese sideways, not up and down.
And you know what's really funny? This is a Chinese book. You see it, you write it this way, right? But in the back, as soon as they put English on it, now it's this way.
Why don't they put the English that way too?
No.
Continuity. Continuity.
See? Just read it. So yeah.
So who's Jason Martin's asking about 1502? Soon. Soon? Soon. Yeah, that's it. Soon. That's my answer.
Soon?
1502,
That's not a
like,
good
one of
answer. That
these?
doesn't answer anything.
That was Michael's same answer last February.
I didn't have it open last February. Soon. We have lots of things going. There's lots of, you know, event stuff that we sold stuff to, and lots of, you know, inso facto things.
What? I didn't get that. What are you talking about?
What?
He was
What
talking about
event?
some kind of knife with a razor.
Wait, is there an event I missed? Is there an event I missed?
No, there's an event that's that Lewis and Alec are going to be out here for week after next, in Lake Havasu, Arizona. Copper Stills Distillery is doing an event, and they wanted cigars, and they don't have a tobacco license, and so I am helping supply their cigars for their event.
That's cool.
And so I'm probably going to go up there with them and go hang out. It'll be fun.
That's
Tell
pretty
them
cool.
you don't have a liquor's license, so they need to bring whiskey to Little Guy Cigar Shop and sell it to your customers.
I cannot do that.
Oh, Bob just left.
Yep.
He had enough.
He had enough.
Tony. He's like, no.
Brittany, were you surprised by a package that was delivered today?
Look, okay, so Michael, oh my God, I love you to death. You just do not know. I needed that ray of sunshine today. I really did. So I thank you for that. Like, I really, really thank you for that. Like, that I needed that.
Shouldn't you thank
You're
Michael?
welcome.
Shouldn't you thank Michael?
I needed that. I needed that ray of sunshine. That was awesome.
You're very welcome.
And it's delicious, by the way. Thanks, Tim.
Which one is
Well,
that one?
everybody
Is that the
voted on
after
it,
show or the assassin?
This is the assassin.
All right, I got a question about the assassin blend because I've been trying to develop my coffee palate. Is there like some super dark chocolate, some earth, and maybe a little bitty teeny hint of floral in there?
I'm getting a lot of floral.
No, there's not. It's not as much floral as the other one. This is actually reduced floral, and there's more
But there
of
is floral
toasty.
in there. A little.
There's a very, very slight hint, if any, of floral. You should get more nuttiness than floral out of that one.
Yeah.
I'm getting
It's like a little bit of it's a little bit of a crispness from like the little bit of acidity that's there.
That may be what I'm interpreting as floral. Then.
I'm getting a little bit like a cashew.
Yeah, you'll get some.
Yeah.
some
Now
Toasted
you're
nuts.
just making me look bad.
It'll be like a cocoa toasted cashew earthiness.
It's so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Well, that
But
was
there is
Tony's
that fresh
preference,
taste.
though.
That's
But
what
then
I'm
again,
getting.
I did just eat a chocolate chip cookie dough bowl, so that might be where I'm getting that sweetness. He hates cookie dough. He hates cookie dough. Oh my God, I could live on
It tastes like you rolled it in sand. Cookie dough is disgusting.
I love
It was
cookie dough.
amazing.
I love
dough.
cookie.
So, Tony, as far as the 4 winners, 3 of them have been announced. I know there are a couple of packages that were all sent out at the same time, but due to our wonderful government shipping system, a couple of them are yet to be delivered. So it would appear as though we will have the final winner come forward probably Monday, maybe Tuesday at the latest, but probably Monday.
That's not bad. That's not too bad. I mean, it is something that we can't help, right? It's the government.
Yeah.
I mean, the wasabi that I ordered beginning of the week is still not here yet. So.
Well, Michael hasn't shipped it yet, so that's why.
All right, that's why.
Oh, Michael shifted.
Michael shipped.
And that
Yeah,
would
but-
mean the box screen is lost in transit as well.
Yeah,
The
it's just how USPS right now is just slowing down everything, and I think the postmaster was like, "I'm here to stay. I'm not gonna listen to it." So yeah.
Okay, so Kat, I'm glad you liked the Cameroon. I got a couple bundles to so people could try them because I didn't want to invest in 20, 30 bundles or whatever until people had tried them. So probably if everybody's liking them, they will be something I will carry very soon, and where you can get whole bundles.
So
When you gonna carry the? Never mind.
Jason says USPS still has my coffee hostage. Well, then everybody that just realized they don't have their coffee yet is really going to be like, "Am I the final winner? Did I get the golden ticket?"
Right?
So Michael, how many of those assassin samplers has been purchased? Do you know?
I do not know the exact number. We will know right now. Let me look.
Hopefully, it's a small number.
Hold, please.
Now I have the
He's
hiccups.
like 1.
No, it's been more than 1, less than 20.
No shit.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6?
Six that have been sold.
Okay. Have you shipped any of them out yet? Please say no.
Yep. Yes.
Oh shit. Okay.
I can't hold stuff hostage and make people wait. Who do you think you're talking to?
No, I was gonna, just send you stuff so that you can send it to them too.
Well, but you're like, hey, boom, put it up. It's got to go. Once it goes out, they can order. It's got to go out.
Yeah,
People
I mean, like,
rely
you know,
on
but
that
then
quick
like things
shipping.
came in afterward, you know, especially I have this pin now. I want to give it out, you know. So
Well, then we can make things happen.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send it to you, and you know, for those people, you know, keep up who their name was. The next package that they do, just give them one of these.
Yeah,
to go with
no
it.
problem.
I'm also gonna send you this too, and
Hashimoto's.
Hashimoto Team Asian Orange pin, and that
So
one.
you're gonna have to order a Laranja. Doesn't matter what style. Even the Lancero. I don't care. That's right. We have Lanceros now. I'm not gonna say when all that stuff's gonna go up, but we might have some Espinosa stuff in Lancero size now. So yeah.
So you should do some sort of entire like you know Laranja package and just throw this thing in there for every one of them. I only have so many. I'm just gonna send you a bunch of those, and then while supplies last, one of those things.
Every size with the Oscuro, Laranja Oscuro, in every size. We'll make a nice little sampler. Tasty orange. That's all it's gonna be called. Tasty orange. And then
There we go.
Matt can be angry.
And life will be happy.
It's going to be called the Team Asian Orange Sampler.
No.
Yeah, there we
The
go.
Team Asian Orange sampler, you're gonna have to like get with me, and we're gonna figure out what you want.
All right.
All right,
Let's
so
do it.
we'll just figure out like you know how to give these out because I'm a sucker for these things. You know, if I can make them, I make them, and then now.
They're cool. They're hilarious. I love them.
Yeah. So the best way to do it is just to give them out. So we give them out. Okay. And obviously, Tim, I think the poker chip I give you is pretty much gone, right?
I think I've got like 6 of them left.
Okay. I
5 or
might
6.
have more coming in. It's a different set of demo. Obviously, it's a different set of demo. So those demo will go to you again, and the next batch of people who bought them can have those for free while supplies last. You know. You know, we give back. We give back, right? Whatever I make that, you know, that people can collect and whatever, and part of their, you know, the SSL history, you get to keep it. You know, that's just the way it is. So.
Yeah, the poker chips come out nice. Those are cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the second set that I made, the image is slightly bigger, but they are not full clay. They are clay composite. So. You know, I don't know how they're gonna feel like, but then it's on the way to get to me. So once you get to me, that will happen. Now, with Michael already getting those Alisan coffee out there, I know some people is like, you know what, I'd rather not spend like $40-something on a cigar that's probably cost $60 anyway. So I'd rather just buy coffee. So now whenever Tim is ready, he can put those up. And I don't know if Tim test roasted those yet. You know, those are gotta be tough to roast. So.
Yeah, I haven't done any of the test roasts yet with them, just because I've been taking care of all the SSL stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so probably this week actually is when I'm gonna be doing that test roast with the honey wash.
Okay. Can we kind of set a date where you can have those on there for people to get them?
Yeah. So why don't we? Let's go. Where's the calendar? Jeez. Come on, phone. So let's go. It's worth 28. Let's go Monday, March 8th.
March
8th. March 8th.
Okay. March 8th.
March 8th.
Okay.
March
So
8th. Hashtag Mike Tyson March 8th.
Oh God. Only thing I have with Mike Tyson is that his voice doesn't match how he looks like. Anyways.
Yep.
So yeah, so for those people that rather have just the coffee and then want to try the entire actual batch, you will be able to find on Turbojet Coffee on March 8th.
Yep.
And
make sure you use the code that is designated for SSL, otherwise you'll be paying the full price for it and not the club price.
Yeah, you'll end up paying like $60.
But...
So you don't want to do that. You want to use the code, you know, because we're doing this for the Legion, and you know, the start route of this was for the Legion. So we want to make sure the Legion can get it at my cost. Literally, this is at my cost. So you know, I'm not doing anything to make money or anything like that. I mean, Tim can be the judge of it. I literally let him know how much it costs, and then based on how much I send in, I you know, with shipping and everything, that's how much it costs. So
Did you message it?
I thought we already done
It is a
this.
very unique.
I thought we
It
already
is a
done
very
this.
unique coffee. It is good.
It's a very different coffee. I mean, I highly suggest everybody to try it. Once you try it, you will literally like, whoa, coffee can taste like this. That is something different, right? But it doesn't taste bad. I mean, I literally kind of got hooked on it because I'm drinking a lot of it. It actually tastes pretty good. So, you know, give it a try. And know, obviously, those people who bought them, let me know how you guys feel about it, you know, because it might not suit your taste, right? But still, it doesn't taste bad or anything like that. Right? So, last time, on Wednesday, I showed you guys the coin. I don't know how many people wasn't here to look at the coin. So, I'll show it again.
Pretty cool.
Oh, that was sick. Oh,
I
that's
saw it
such
in
a,
Discord and whatnot, but
they are both awesome.
So this is
Yeah.
the coin, very shiny. I love how this thing is. You can see right now it's pewter, and literally the picture I posted is gold, because this thing is so reflective. It takes whatever light that's on. So
Wow.
like this
Oh,
thing
wow.
is super shiny. So it came out good. It came out good, especially the contrast. I love the contrast on this thing. So yeah, this thing will go with the event swag. Everybody will get one of these. And then we had the black metal, which I only have like 40 of those. So I don't have a lot
Box
of those.
purchase only.
Right. So once we have the event cigar, the Lost Blend, you can get a box. And when you get a box, which is gonna be like the initial release is just gotta be Shadow Smoke's Legion members. Right. And then just for the people that goes to the event and purchase through the event. And those people, the Shadow Smoke Legion member, will be able to pick up one that has these in there. It's hard to show the entire thing because you really need that shine to find it. You need that shine to kind of find the skull in there, right?
that's cool looking.
Yeah, that thing is awesome.
This thing is so black that you know when there was like those paint that's like super black that takes everything. This thing is, I feel like it's more black than black. You see how this is darker than my black mug.
It's more black than black.
We call that depth. It's got depth to it, don't we?
No, this is really just darker. It's literally darker.
Right. No, it's got depth. So like when you see paint on a car, right? And like it's got to where it looks like it's like darker or more vibrant than you anticipate the color to be. It's depth. Matt, back me up on this.
Yes, you're right, Michael.
There you go. Thank you. God.
Just for that, Matt. Just for that, I'm gonna go make something else. Just for that, how dare you? Anyways, this is gonna go with the box, and I don't anticipate that we're gonna have more than 40 boxes of this thing. So that's why I only make 40. So only 40 people will have it.
Let's pray that we do.
Well, if we do, then I have no choice. I can't make any more of these. Oh, look at that. So that's where
that?
Bob went. Bob went to get some nice drink.
There you
What
go,
is it?
Bobby.
What is it?
You're muted.
Bob
right
is
now.
muted.
You're on mute.
Bob, you're muted.
It's so good he's speechless.
You tap the screen, and here we
There
go.
I hate technology. I swear I do.
You and me both.
You're doing so much.
Bob didn't have to walk that far to get that bottle. I can confirm that.
Is that the Corona cigar bottle?
It is that Corona cigar, the 13-year. I love the regular traditional, but this single barrel select is so stinking awesome. It is just, man, I love this stuff.
What is it? A bourbon? Is it a Scotch? What is it?
It's a bourbon, but it's the Horse Soldier. It's the story of the guys, 12 strong. Some of the guys came back and they started up their own distillery, and they actually got some of the salvage metal from the trade center, and they use that to make the molds for their bottles. So it's actually the trade center steel actually makes the bottle. It's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Sounds cool. Sounds pretty cool, actually.
But it's
So
delicious.
I'm stocking USB for updating the box train. Okay, so box train still going. Did Bob ever got the box train? Bob, are you even on the box train?
I
Bob
got the
had it,
box
right?
train once.
Oh yeah, so we're still running the same box. You know how long that project is gonna take. It's gonna take years before he gets
never
through
gonna end.
everybody. Yeah. So yeah, we're going at it.
If anybody else didn't see on Discord, I have talked to Fernando. He's doing a lot better.
I thought he's back in California, but apparently he's back in Mexico again.
Yeah, because he was in the hospital in Mexico when he was there.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but he's doing a lot better. He said he's almost getting to where he's going to be on solid food soon. So.
Okay, because last time he talked to me, he said he was gonna do an update for everybody going on live, but he ended up not doing that. So I wasn't too sure. And I want to give him distance so that he can like rest, not get involved.
Oh yeah, I talked to him because he and I are pretty close. So.
And Michael, you're saying that as if we're not close. Come on.
Well, you know what I mean. Like I've seen Fernando quite a few times. We've hung out, we've smoked together, we've eaten lunch. You know, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
That's my compa right there, dude.
So we talked about those. We talked about the coin. We talked about the pin I'm giving out. Oh yeah. By the way, I did receive these in, so I've been start shipping them out already. So if you order one, paid for them, this is coming.
Be part of the club, the fancy Glencairn Club.
You know, I did look. Somebody talked about the cap for these, and I did look into it. But how many of you
Gary
are actually?
Brooks, wasn't it?
Say what?
That was Gary Brooks.
I think so.
Yeah,
And he talked about the cap. I looked into the cap. It doesn't make sense though. Like how often you guys will use a cap on this thing?
Well, I mean, if you're outside Louisiana, you better put a cap on your whiskey. That's all I'm saying.
What's the cap
Yeah,
for?
I do all the time in the summer.
What? What is that?
What's the cap for?
The cap. They bought like a cork or something like that just put a cap on top.
Why?
Of it.
Here,
So that they can
I'm gonna
keep.
grab something. I'm gonna show you
keep
something
the
I
cup
think might
clean.
be cool for the lead one.
It's
Yeah,
an actual
there's a
bug
reason.
collector in
There's a
certain parts of the
reason
country.
for it. I just don't know what it is.
No,
There's
like some
something
people.
to do with air, with you know how you decant wine and stuff like that. It's something along the lines. Josh knows all about that kind of stuff, so I think that's what he's.
You
fixing
can
to
keep
tell us.
the
He's-
aroma
like,
in
when
there
I
and
get
take
a
it out and
bottle of
smell it if
wine,
you want.
Like when my dad brings a bottle, we leave it open and let it breathe, and it actually brings out the flavors more. And it's kind of the same thing, but in reverse.
'Cause you don't want
But
this.
her
You don't want to
dad
drink to
brings over
oxidate.
$600 and $800 bottles of wine all the time. So it's like, hey, y'all want wine? And you're like, well, yeah. I mean, we're obviously going to partake of that.
You're talking to half drink wells here. Oh, yeah, I don't know.
But the problem is that how long does it take you to drink a shot of whiskey?
A long time.
Well,
So-
it depends. No, it depends on the social gathering in which it's being drank. Some people, like if you're in a lounge or if you're somewhere, because I know my dad, like when we go down to the Tampa area, he goes out with his buddies and we go to a place called Salt Rock, and they sit in the lounge area and they smoke cigars and they drink, and I mean it'll be in there the entire time that they're smoking that cigar.
Right, but I've seen
You don't
people
just-
literally just put a coaster on top of it like that.
Next time we go to Tampa, we're going to a big cigar place down there.
Yeah.
If y'all ever heard of it. Bob may have heard of it. I don't know if Bob knows where it is though.
No, there we go.
There you go. That's shameless plug
Tony-
one for Bob.
Tony,
Product
check this out.
CORONACIGAR.com.
Okay, here we go. That's two, Bob.
Bob hasn't plugged his own channel yet, so I don't think that counts.
No.
Yeah,
'cause-
right.
But then he
count.
plugged the sponsor, so that's the same.
No, it's not the same. Bob, you get multiples because you got to plug yourself towards the end.
I only
That
plug
just
Bob.
sounds bad.
Somebody else can plug Bob. That sounds so wrong.
Unplugging, no. Replugging, no. No. Travis did a lot of plugging while he was here, but he was plugging in the stuff into the power box. And Brittany was keeping him in line. I've got pictures of Brittany standing on the ground while Travis.
I cannot believe you took
standing
that
on the
picture.
ladder. And she's pointing up at him like, don't forget to do that. When we left, she actually gives me all these rubber washers and says, Travis said you didn't need them, but you need to put these on whenever we leave. And I'm like, okay, Travis, they're still not on. I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm just glad Travis brought his foreman with him because, every electrician needs a foreman.
Yeah, he'd be
True.
sitting
I
there
agree.
just stringing hot wire. No problem. Whatever, guys.
Hey, there are
Travis was crazy.
some jobs that we do together, and I walk circles around
If
him.
she was 2 inches taller, she'd be a 5-man.
I just want to say, Travis, I just wanted to tell you this, okay? If you come to Massachusetts, you're welcome to come to my place. I got a lot of cigar and coffee. Just saying, you know. I do need some wiring, you know.
Watch his
He
wiring
wouldn't
nose.
stop
He's
and
got
smoke a
wax.
cigar.
Wiring.
He had on like 7 jackets, looking like a homeless man in Pennsylvania, and he wouldn't stop. I said, no, we'll do that later. He goes, okay. And then I turn around, he's working on it. Brittany goes, he's not gonna quit.
I told him I'd come up there to do it all. We came up there to do it.
Once he gets in his zone, just leave me.
The only time he slowed down and really just drank in the moment was when he pulled out this big old jar of wire lube, and this smile came across his face as he starts to squirt the wire lube all over God and everything. And I just got to tell you that stuff.
I will tell
Liquor
you, I
goose
hate
snot.
that wire lube.
It's like that scene in Ghostbusters after he got hit by Slimer.
It's crazy.
Oh,
But $20 is $20.
Oh.
He gets that wire lube everywhere.
Son, I'm telling you, you could push a golf ball through a drinking straw with that stuff.
I'll tell you what, Travis, the cable company came out to put the wire in, and that was the other wire that I put the cat cable in.
Yeah.
And he says, well, we can't use that. We're going to use the other wire, but we'll just use that cat cable to pull this wire through. And I said, that's cool. And I was waiting for him to pull out the wire loop. And he goes, you got some used motor oil? I said, what you mean some used motor oil? He goes, we're just going to use motor oil. And I said, oh, well, the professionals in Louisiana use wire lube. And he just kind of looked at me like I had lost my ever-loving mind. And
Shows how much they were
wire
trained,
lube
right?
does
Shows
not
how much
know
they
how
were
to close
trained.
really well.
Pro versus cable company. The pros always wins, right? So just I there's no way to really plug Travis, but hey, if you need electricians that does like good job, Travis is one good hell of an electrician. You can pay him in cash, check, or cigars. Okay.
I even do phone tutoring.
There you go.
Albert called me today, and I walked him through something.
there is phone support system going on right here. 1-800-Travis.
Yeah.
Hey, Trav, you'll be out here in California in like a month and a half. I'm still running off an extension cord here. I'm just saying. And you're
Travis
driving
like,
out.
We
That's
can
my bag there, man.
we can solve that problem.
Very easy.
1 year worth of coffee will solve that problem, right?
We can do 3 days. We can do 3 days worth of work about 4.5, 5 hours.
he ain't lying, Tim. Don't even try to help. Because I tried to get Steven to help him put in outlets.
No, just stay out the way.
Travis had did 5 by the time Steven had done a half of one. And he goes, Steven, you just want to let me take care of that? And he goes, yeah, I think so. So don't even try. Just get out of his way and pay him in advance because he will not take money. It's infuriating because I'm like, dude, I'll pay you. No, you won't. So I put him up in a good hotel, and
I'll as he's driving out here, I'll just ship a massive shipment of coffee out to him, and then when he gets here, I'll just feed him my slow smoked pulled pork.
There we go.
Pork seems to be the thing. When you work on a shed, you eat pork.
Yeah, because Steven made pulled pork.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
But I honestly think though that kind of stuff is the best. I mean, cash is one thing, money is one thing, but when you help out a friend, just trade stuff. I mean, I think that's.
I
really
ain't
nice.
never seen a hearse with a trailer hitch, and money.
I ain't never seen.
People's more important than money. That's all it is to it.
I agree.
I'd rather feed your addictions and your vices than give you money.
That's what I'm saying.
So Josh was gonna show me something earlier. I didn't see it. What is it, Josh?
Oh yeah. Okay, so this is a challenge coin that's a whiskey Glencairn cover. So you can see how it has that beveled edge right there.
Okay.
And I get these every other month from the Whiskey Tribe, but they're cool because they fit and they lock on directly to the Glencairn. That might be something cool for the Legion.
Done.
To have a Legion
Next
coin
year.
that does that.
Next year.
Just
Done.
leave us some butthead on there.
Hey, Tony,
Was that Beavis and Butthead on the coin?
Can I get mine in
No,
gold?
this one has Rex and Daniel.
Sweet.
What I'm gonna do with you guys, seriously. Yeah. Next time I make a coin, I will put that in consideration. I have to see how like that bevel works without. Like I had to find out that bevel size, and then we might have to change our sizes, just so that you have that bevel to go onto it. Here, let me see.
Josh, what you do is send him one because you got probably 100 of them, and Tony will know.
And Bob, just to let you know, the bidet in the hotel room, when you hit spray, it's not on a timer. I learned that 8 minutes later.
I was dying.
The stop button is too. You don't know it's a stop button. It just looks like a backlight. In about 8 minutes, I'm like, there's no way I ain't clean.
I'm
No,
dying.
Travis.
Oh, God.
Travis, after the first 2 minutes, the rest is a water show. You're supposed to get up and watch the water. It goes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I started having water come out of my nose. I said, man, if I loosen up a hair, it's gonna clean my sinuses. And then it started blow drying me because I hit the other button. I didn't know how to stop it, and then I ended up getting wind burnt. By the time I got up, I'm telling you, I think that was the cleanest part of my body.
So you would think you would learn the first time. No.
Well, I learned it the second time. The first time I had to lean over and turn the power off to it to get up. Because like, man, I don't know what the timer said.
Not once.
And then I'm pushing, and I go to hit. I thought it was a power button, and it lit up a square, and it stopped. I said, "There we go."
Travis, you could have called me. It's like, hey, Tony, how do you use these Asian toilets?
I started to sit there. I was like, Tony, we got a little bit of a problem here. I've been on this bidet for about 30, because we were about an hour late getting the Bobs to eat dinner, and that's part of the reason why.
You are like the human version of Mater from Cars.
Yes, he is.
I was happier in the tornado in the trailer park.
Albert, what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking some Starbucks right now. I don't have it yet. I got the mug, but I didn't get the coffee yet.
Yeah, I was tracking it. It should be there probably Monday. It's in Odessa, Texas, I think, right now.
Whoa. Albert, what were you drinking?
Where my mom lives.
No, I'm okay if you're not drinking like Turbojet, but you're not even drinking Bob. You're drinking Starbucks. That's okay. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Is it a K cup on top
give
of
it
that?
Starbob. Starbob.
Yeah, there we go. He's drinking Starbob's coffee.
So how y'all doing tonight?
Good. I mean, I saw you coming in, but we have some conversation going on, and you were just quiet on the side. Why are you smoking today?
I'm doing one of these Macanudo green Esperados. Yeah.
Whenever I hear Macanudo, I think someone is talking about like the Mac and noodles.
That's a language. That's a language barrier problem.
Because that's technically mac and cheese, right? Mac is like a noodle, so it's like Mac and noodle. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh.
Yes, for sure. That is a language barrier thing.
Don't worry,
First
worry, Tony. You're not the only one. My dad smokes them. Okay, my dad he actually favors the Magneto, and my kids did think he Mac a noodle.
Not only that,
This is the guy that drinks $1,000 bottle of wine and smoking a Macanudo, and I'm like,
Well, no, he likes the Connecticut now. We have deterred him a little bit over to the better side of cigars.
It's a slow growth process, okay?
It is.
At least he's smoking.
He just made 68. No, 60. Yeah, 68. He just made 68, and he has smoked them for a while. He is set on that cigar that he.
a while being, 50 years, but who's counting?
now talking about language barrier, I don't know if I told you guys a story about soup and salad. So we went to like Uno's, and when you order food, you get soup or salad with their food. So me and my wife was like ordering food, and then we didn't care about the soup or salad. But then like the waiter asked, "Would you like soup or salad?" And I heard super salad.
No,
I was like,
regular salad, please.
I literally asked, "What is a super salad?" He's like, "Yeah, soup or salad." I was like, "Is there a salad that's better than salad? That's super salad?" My wife was like, "What's super salad?" I was like, "I don't know." The guy says super salad, and then the guy's
The
like,
guy's thinking you're making a dad joke.
"No." The guy was looking, but then both me and my wife heard super salad. So we were like, "Okay, well the salad is not super. We'll have the super salad." He said, "No, you want soup or salad?" We're like, "Oh, okay, we'll get soup."
Don't feel bad, Tony. I was born American, and I hate language barriers just because of the way we speak. Don't feel too bad.
Well, I was in a Popeye chicken the other day, and the person ahead of me was ordering and wanted a leg, like she wanted the leg, and the guy's like, "Well, which side?" He said, "I don't care which side the leg comes from."
I'm gonna eat the left leg, thank you.
Front leg, please. Let me get a front leg.
Well, there's a difference between left and right leg, though. Right legs are more lean, left legs are more fatty.
It depends on what leg that chicken was.
Majority of the chicken.
Do you measure this, Tony? Like, where does this information
No, this is
come
actually a Chinese thing. Like whenever you have, whenever a Chinese, like when we cook an entire chicken, we take it out to the table. The head of the house usually gets to choose to touch the food first, right? But the head of the house usually will break off that right leg because it's most lean and give it to people who doesn't like fat.
Well, what if the chicken was facing the other way?
No, we know it's the right leg.
Oh, just the right. Okay, as it's facing.
Yeah.
Hey, so welcome for this, by the way. You are welcome for me bringing up the chicken idea.
What about the wrong leg?
Yeah, right.
Well, the wrong leg's wrong. Don't break that one.
So confused right now.
Yeah, just break the right leg. Don't break the right.
Watch the video on YouTube of the little kid that was pulling the guts and the neck out of the turkey, and his mom told him the neck was something else, and the little kid started gagging.
Oh Lord!
So Tony, is the right leg over the left leg?
I guess a turkey.
No, the left leg. The left leg are usually more fattier. It actually tastes better. So we usually save the part that's more lean for the people that doesn't like fat stuff.
But for some, the left leg is the right leg.
No,
and
the
I
right
had
leg.
chicken tonight, and I just grabbed a leg. Now I'm like, did I get gypped?
Just like some people who go on to get a steak or like a prime rib, they'll ask for an end cut. It's the same idea. Right? Some people ask for an end cut because it's more crust, it's more outside of it. It's actually more burnt. So
I don't think that's the same idea as a right and left leg, though. We're
It
getting
is.
way off topic here.
Oh, how about this? You guys know lobster, right? Lobster always have one hand, the scissor is longer, and the other scissor is bigger.
Color claw.
Yeah, claw, whatever that is. So one of them are always bigger because one is used to cut, and the other one is used to crush. So there's a difference.
They could be dikes.
Right?
Hey, that's true. I got a few nice sets of dikes, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Or crimpers. It looked like a crimper though because of the little knots.
The male or female.
But there is a difference. But there's a difference, right? People is like, oh, somebody must have break the arm when they was young and grew another one. No, it doesn't happen that way. One of them are small for a reason. One of them small and thin and long.
Do lobsters regenerate?
Yeah, like as if those lobsters can regenerate. Broke an arm and the arm just grows back out. No, it doesn't happen that way.
So when you eat lobster, which one is the good hand? The little hand?
Well, obviously,
strong hand.
the bigger claw is gonna have more meat, right? More succulent meat. So there's a difference.
So do you eat the minute hand or the hour hand?
Yeah.
No, I eat the second hand.
This is usually the conversation that's going on.
What is it? What is the second hand? Is that like a used lobster?
The second hand's the third hand.
No, the
Bob
second
is
hand.
really rethinking why he got on tonight.
Yeah, Bob is like, why am I talking to all these people? I love them, but they are holy
Bob's like,
cow.
I was in the clear. I was off.
But does the lobster? Is there a right-handed lobster and a left-handed lobster? Are they like
Yes.
Yes, the left hand's smaller.
No, but
Not
what
always.
if their lobster's left-handed? Would it be?
No,
Yeah,
one
they're
hand is
probably
always used to cut. The other hand is always used to crush.
It's to
So-
use it or lose it. It just hits him a little harder.
Yeah, no, the whatever claw they use the most will be bigger, like a person. Like I'm left-handed, so the muscles in my left arm are bigger.
No, lobster, you'll never find the left side bigger than the right.
So they're all right-handed.
They're all right-handed. There's
Well,
no.
how come one of our eyes ain't bigger than the other? If we aim with our right eye, how come our right eye ain't bigger?
No, this,
You wanna know?
it's a concept.
just
No,
keep
that's a concept of human. Human have that concept of being left-handed or right-handed. Animal don't have that concept.
There's
Just take the cap off the bottle, Bob, and just drink it.
Bob, he just created a new button for us.
No, here, when you get a multi-function wrench, right? One side will have a function and the other side will have the other function, right? You wouldn't be like arguing like, okay, sometimes because you're left-handed, the other side is flipped. No, it's that one.
What if it's a ratcheting wrench without a differential in there? You have to flip it over.
But you know what I'm saying, right? There's one side for that particular function. It will always be that same side. And you gotta say, oh, but then it's two-sided wrench, so it doesn't matter which side. But the logo is printed upside, so you can tell which side is actually the right side. Whenever you hold it up, you can read the logo. The right side is the right side. There is a side.
Tony, you're not a tool guy, and we know this, and it's showing right now.
Like a Phillips screwdriver, you got to point the star sideways to unloosen it.
Really? Are we going there?
Yeah, because if you hold it in your left hand, that's how you loosen it. If you put it in your right hand, that's how you tighten it.
Really?
Righty tighty.
Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
Tony, remind me to never let you touch my snap-on stuff.
Yeah.
What does it snap onto, Michael?
Exactly.
I'm talking about the different ends. I'm not talking about which hand you're holding on to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Joseph is like, I'm lost. Bob is like, this is why I need bourbons, because I can't keep going on with this conversation.
So my question is, since I'm left-handed, are all my tools wrong for me then? Because they're
That's
all made
not
for
what I'm
right-handed
saying.
people?
I'm saying that when you look
Just
in
hold
at
it
a tool, because there's a print on there, the brand, whatever, it will actually tell you that which side is what. And then you identify one side for one thing, the other side one thing. You cannot say that because I'm left-handed, the sides are different.
Tony, you're not making sense right now.
Michael, instead of holding it straight towards whatever you're trying to loosen, just turn your wrist 180 degrees and then it'll be perfect.
Here, ready? Here's a remote, right? And here's where the remote sends signal, right? It doesn't matter which side you're holding it. This side is the way for the remote to send signal.
What if you hold it up and down?
Huh?
What if you hold it up and down?
But doesn't matter. So when you identify this remote, somebody want to go on the phone on you and try to tell you there's one side that has signal, right? There's only be one side. Doesn't matter which side, which remote this is. You have the same side that has the signal. So for lobsters, the same thing. One side is always used for crushing. The other side is always used for cutting. So you're not gonna see it flip because that's how the function is. They don't have the concept of left-handed or right-handed.
Lobster is a very complicated creature to me now. I don't even want to eat them no more.
You can eat shrimp.
See, crawfish, they have the same size claws.
No, they're slightly different. There are slight difference.
Oh crap!
Same with the Thai shrimp. Thai shrimp has a really long arm, and even that has a difference between the two.
Yeah, busted, Travis.
That's just what it is. That's just what it is. When you eat a lot of food, and you eat all the and you start to realize that there is a certain part of the food that just tastes great for a reason, because that's the function of it.
Why,
Wouldn't it be weird if a cow had a little hoof?
why is one side of the chicken more lean than the other, though, Tony? I never understood that.
Because it's leaning.
Well, that'd be the front half, wouldn't it?
It always walks crooked, so it's lean.
Or walks in circles.
No, for example,
That'd be a one-legged chicken, wouldn't it?
for example,
Crossroad, it couldn't. It walked in circles.
Does a one-legged chicken walk
Oh,
in,
Lord.
one-legged chicken walk in a circle? Like a duck swims in a circle?
just like a jumper, they tend to use their specific leg to take off, you know? So chicken are the same way. They jump and they tend to use a specific leg to jump off and to jump at things, to take off. They use more. They use one side of the leg more than the other, and that side is gonna be more muscular, less fat. That's how it is, even with human.
All right.
All right, I looked on the internet about lobster claws. It's a 50-50 chance as to which side you got the bigger claw.
Thank you.
So it can be either side.
That's right. It says During claw differentiation, there's a 50-50 chance of developing a right or left crusher, depending upon which claw is used more frequently.
What?
I've also heard lobsters are immortal.
No. Oh, actually, they can last a long time, but they're not immortal. They can grow as long as no one was eating it.
Yeah, they're biologically immortal, right? They have to.
But
be
I will
killed.
question that 50-50 chance. That's like saying that the coin has 50-50 chance to land on one side. Coin
They're
does
the
not.
closest
It does.
thing to a Highlander.
Coin does not have 50-50 chance
Yes,
to
it
lose
does.
to land on
Yes,
one
it
side.
There it is.
Please. Why?
Tony, there aren't three sides to a coin.
The edge.
Bob!
Why
There-
is this
there
getting
is
so
a-
convoluted?
There is a scientific research that
Bob-
the coin does
Bob's gotta
not
play too,
land
man.
50-50 chance on one side. There is a scientific research on that. It's not 50-50. One side is actually heavier.
No.
Yes.
Okay,
So if I can pull out that research, would I, do I justify myself?
So then make a slug that is just perfectly flat, machined, and flip it. The chances are 50-50 because then it's perfectly balanced.
Right, but coin isn't perfectly balanced on both sides.
What are you talking about? A dime? You talking about a Super Bowl coin? What are you talking about?
He's talking about the super salad coin.
Super salad coin. No, but then that's how it is. Like, people say, well, if you flick a coin, you're more likely to there's a side that you're more likely to land on because they're not evenly weight distributed. Not to mention every time you flip a coin, it's not gonna be the same weight, same height, and the same force. So
That's why you always pick tails because the head side's heavier.
yeah, people did say that before. It's actually heavy on one side, and that's why there's not such thing as 50-50 chance. They say it's 50-50 chance because the possible outcome is 2. Right?
All right, so Tony's right. It says if the 50-50 coin, it's closer to 51-49 based towards whatever side the coin was thrown into the air. The spinning coin tends to fall towards the heavier side more often, leading to a pronounced number of extra tails results when it finally comes to rest.
The more you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
can thank Travis because he's the one that put the electricity
All right.
in here so I can run my computer.
I think what we're going to do is we need to play next Saturday. We need to play Stump Tony.
What? Say that again?
That gives us a whole week to come up with something to stump you with, man.
Here's a question: can you have this? All right, if you got 58 cows and 38 chickens, how many didn't?
What? Say that again?
If you got 58 cows and 38 chickens, how many didn't?
28.
Right.
58 cows,
And
28.
38 chickens, how many didn't?
Is that some sort of like English misunderstanding?
Oh,
How many
He's
didn't?
going to be thinking about this for a while.
if you have 58 cows and 38 chickens, how many didn't? The answer is 28.
Subtract.
Subtle, Matt.
I don't know. I think I think Bob came up with a number, and you just agreed with him. Is
Nah,
that
because you got 58 cows, okay?
what I think
And
happened?
30 of them ate chickens. How many of them didn't eat chickens?
Oh, I got you.
28.
This is why I hate English, because a lot of words, playing with words.
Why do you hate English, Tony?
Because English is trash.
Oh my God.
You gotta agree with that because
Coca-Cola feels the same way.
no, when I say English trash, is because number one, we don't have a universal, guaranteed, agreed upon correct grammar. Even the professor in English will get it wrong. Okay, that's number one. Number two,
That's the
there-
beauty of it, man.
there is so many words that has completely non-related meanings.
Like live and live.
No, like bat, baseball bat versus a flying bat. Even when I say flying bat, that could be somebody throwing a baseball bat,
Then there's batshit crazy. That's a good one.
right? So, and there's so many words that didn't exist. They just created using the whatever. I mean, like for example, kinzuki. Like in average American, is not gonna know what kinzuki is, but that's English, right?
And it,
Chop suey. What the hell is chop suey? Tsunami. That's not English, right? Come on. Right? General Gauss. What the hell is General Gauss?
Why are you so angry?
Jeez.
Because that's the language barrier that I have. Can we just agree on something, like at least get the word created correctly rather than just say, hey, we're running out of words, so let's just use that.
Yeah, potato, tomato.
Well, suck my thingy in a parking lot is international. You don't have to worry about the problem with that. So
I should have used the word Richard instead of bleeping it out, but you know, again, like how the Richard became Dick. How does Robert came about to be Bob?
How did Travis become Shifu? It's an international mystery.
No. See, Travis becomes Shifu is different. Okay, he decided to go Bruce Lee for 3 weeks, and he became Shifu. Okay, that's okay. But something like Master Shifu, that doesn't make sense. What is Master Shifu? Shifu means master. That's like saying master.
Yeah, master.
Well, he's a double master.
Where did D's nuts come from? Where did that whole thing come about?
Well, that's a squirrel that they caught in Louisiana that was stealing. That was his code name.
You know, just like there's a lot of English word that doesn't make sense. For example, when you try to describe a green, you say midori green. There's a color called midori green. Well, midori is Japanese for green, so he's saying green. So what green is it?
I never heard that before.
All right. Okay. So in Japan, there's a deer called the shika, right? And English is called shika deer. Well, unfortunately, shika means deer. That's saying deer.
It's like a hot water heater.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's repeated word because there was no word to describe it, and you start using whatever that term is, when that term happened to describe what that is.
I have a
No
riddle.
such thing as a hot water heater. It don't
I
exist.
have a riddle that Tony cannot get.
Go for it.
Okay, go for it.
All right, there's 3 guys. They go check into a hotel. And the hotel was $30, so they all split it $10 a piece. They go up to the hotel room, and then the manager says, "Wait a minute, we charged them too much. It's only $25." So he gives the bellman $5 to take up to the people. But on the way up, he's like, "I don't know how to split $5 amongst 3 people, so I'm just gonna give them $1 a piece, and I'll keep $2." All right. Y'all with me so far?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in the end, they only paid $9 a piece for the hotel room, right? Because they all got $1 back.
Okay.
Times 3 is 27, plus the $2 the bellman had. Where did the extra $1 go?
No. Wait a second. Each person pays $10, right?
Yeah, right.
And they each got $1 back. That's $9.
$27.
Okay, but it was 25. He gave 5, but that 5 didn't exist because they already pay you first. They only get $1 back.
$27. 27 plus the $2 the bellman had. Where's the extra $1?
That's not right. I had to write it down. Wait, what? Why is Michael laughing?
Because.
No, you got 3 people. Each pay $10 for the $30 room.
Right.
So they bring back $5. Well, that's different because they didn't. That $2 didn't exist. They only pay back the $3. That $2 didn't exist.
No, they did because you got the front desk has 25, correct, Albert?
Right.
They each have 3. That's 28, right? Bellhop has 2. That's 30. You got to look at the problem from front to back, not back to front. Correct? 25 plus 3 plus 2 is 30.
But 27 plus 2 is 29. So how's that work?
That's only.
But because that $2 never exists, the $2 never.
If you do 27 and 2, you're leaving out the front desk. You have to do all 3.
No.
25, 3, 2.
No, but because in the end, that $2 never existed. That $2 came out of the hotel's pocket. That didn't go towards the money from the people. So they never got that money back. That $2 didn't exist.
So that would be.
Well, yeah, front desk has 25. They each have $1. That's 28. The bellhop has 2. 29, 30. That's $30.
Right. It is correct, but then he's trying to trick you into thinking that $2 should have been refunded to them, so they should have a different number. But the fact that that $2 never existed for those people only got $1 back.
That's $28, right?
Right.
But they have 27.
Well,
No,
they
but
have-
how do
yeah,
you? No,
they do.
no. You got the
they
$2
spent
is
27, right, Albert?
$3.9 is 27. Yeah,
Right. They spent $27. Bellhop has 2.
that's 29.
And if you put the problem right, you got 25 plus their 3 plus the 2. There's your $30. You have to do the whole problem. You can't eliminate the front desk. If you only do 2, it eliminates that variable from the
it will
beginning.
only work if they got the whole entire $5. They didn't get that $5, so that $2 should be taken away from that equation. That $2 should have been refunded to the front desk. That never
But then
existed.
the front desk would have 27.
Yeah, and that's exactly the front desk had 27. That's the $3 that got refunded back to them.
Bob is
But
never
what if
gonna
the
hang
front,
out
in the
with
front
this guy.
desk gave Bellhop 2?
So
Are
that's
you
why
back
the
at
difference is
29?
2. The difference 2 is correct, because they each got $1 back. You're talking about 2 different situations. What the total cost is minus the 2 versus the people who spend it and got $1 back. That 2
It's
different.
so simple.
Two
If you
different
do
total.
math from the beginning to the end, it adds up to 30.
Yeah, that doesn't work that way, because you're talking about a third person who got the money, but then that money wasn't in both of the equation. It's taken out. So the missing $2, if it was distributed to those 3 people, it will add up. But because it didn't add up, because the $2 never existed in that equation of those 3 people.
All right.
It's a tricky one. It's a tricky question. I mean, that's one of those things that, you're taking a third person's math, try to add to a 2 different cost pool.
It's considered a paradoxical question.
Yeah, doesn't work that way.
One situation with a definite outcome that can be interpreted 2 different ways. I'm a mathematical genius when I want to be.
Yeah.
Travis,
You shake your head no.
Travis, how can you figure that out when you can't figure out an off button on a bidet, bro?
Yeah, man.
He knew how to
I'm
hit that
never-
button. He knew the button.
He knew.
He knew the button.
He just couldn't find the button. He just couldn't find the button. He knew the button.
8 minutes.
Now, he was on
He's
vacation.
like, oh, this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Hold it.
But yeah, it wouldn't work that way, because the total did not get evenly distributed between the 3. And then
Well, here's
you're
one
talking
you
about the refund cost versus the total cost, which the 2 disappeared. It will have to split it evenly between the 3. Once you split it evenly, it's less than $1, so it wouldn't be.
If you got 5 birds on a limb and you shoot one of them, how many's left?
None. They all flew
0.
away.
Scott scared the rest of them off.
Oh my god. Wait, how
Am
did
I
this
the only one
conversation become a
noticing-
math question? How did this conversation become a math question?
Am I the only one that's noticing that Matt keeps disappearing a little at a time?
Matt is just like, why are we talking about math here? Like, can we talk about something like, let's talk about Bob. Why is Bob not talking, kind of thing, But hey, Bob, I actually like that magnet I did for your board thing. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. It works good.
I know it works good. I was like, why didn't I think about that? Why couldn't I just, one of those things? But I don't have a wall that has metal in the back.
Yeah.
I just screwed in some metal plates.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't have thought about that for sure. But it works. So, but Bob, the back thing is a backdrop for you, right? It's like a sheet or something.
Wallpaper?
Yeah, this is vinyl. It's a vinyl. I got a whole bunch of them. It's just a
Here
sheet.
we go.
It's one of the. I got a ton of different ones, so I can change my backdrop anytime I want to.
So what are your options right now? Like, you got a tree, and what else do you have?
Oh my goodness! I've got Christmas. I've got Thanksgiving. I've got Halloween. I've got a bunch of. I got an American flag made out of bricks. I got a regular thing made out of bricks. I've got VIP, like you go get your photo on the runway. It's a VIP backdrop. I've got a couple Florida looking palm tree backdrops. I've got an aquarium backdrop. And I got a couple others, I think. I mean, I got a lot of them. They're not that expensive, so you just have to wait for them to show up.
My wife has bitched at me about having my backdrop like this. She's like, why don't you just go back to the part where you just cover everything in black? That looks better because your room's a mess. I was like, I agree. my backdrop's a mess.
That's why I just built a whole studio. It was easier.
So who'd she pick as the winner, Tony?
She haven't picked it yet. I have to go talk to her because today we're out pretty much majority of the day. She haven't taken to look at it yet. I think there's only like 3 or 4 people that played, so it'll be easy.
It wasn't many.
Yeah, and that makes it easy. She just had to go, eeny, money, mo, boom, done. So we'll figure it out.
Okay. How many people hunt on this live right now?
13.
How many people hunt?
What? Oh,
How many of us live here hunt?
Hunt. Not me.
Kid.
Like you shoot birds and stuff? Y'all shoot birds? Y'all bird hunt?
Do neighborhood cats in your yard count?
Yes.
Does go to the supermarket count? I went to the supermarket hunting for food.
I'm just asking for a friend.
Well, you know how you see the birds, like they make the V? The birds make the V?
Mm-hmm.
And you notice how I go, one side's always longer than the other? Why is that?
What do you mean? The draft, the direction that they're flying towards.
No, because there's more birds on one side. That's why.
I was waiting for it.
No, but then there is a reason why they gather a certain way.
Oh my God.
No, they're like, no, Tony, don't try to make this scientific. You're talking to a science guy. What do you expect? Everything can be explained by science.
No.
I don't even hunt, and I knew that.
Oh, wait. Brittany just said not everything can be explained by science.
Everything can be explained by science.
Yeah, like how come Texas people don't like beans in their chili? Science can't figure that out.
Yeah,
Science can figure that out. It's
Because it's
statistics.
not supposed to be there.
Science could figure that out. Based on certain location and the temperature and the weather, that could lead you to want to eat more certain things than others. Science can figure that out.
That's just because they don't know how to eat real chili.
No, science. This is the way it is. Okay, I believe that science and math can explain everything, but it's just whether or not we got there yet.
Sorry, I gotta disagree with you on that one.
You don't think so? You don't think that certain thing can be statistically explained by science?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, but Tony, isn't that a cop out that you say, well, if we can't figure it out with science, then we just haven't learned the science yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on now.
Bob, okay, Bob, you're a religious person, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you think that probably God has created everything.
Yes.
One universal being has created everything.
Absolutely.
And then don't you feel like the fact that we discover science is trying to explain that?
Say that one more time, because I want to make sure.
Because I believe science is just a human's way trying to explain how things work the way God has intended to.
Well, you believe in gravity?
I believe in gravity.
Okay. God created gravity, and He created gravity and other things in a way like that, so that people can understand a rationalization behind things. But God was the one who created the fact that things have mass and matter and float or sink or whatever. God has given us the ability, the brains, the desire to seek out knowledge and information. And he is the creator of structure, of order, of all these other things.
Exactly.
So if there was no order in what he did, then there would just be, higgledy-piggledy everything. So yes, science is an extension of God, but when science replaces God, that's when
science doesn't
wrong.
replace this God. Science explain and try to seek out that rule God has created.
But science cannot cover all situations. Here's one for particular, okay? Here's where God steps in and science says, I can't compete with God. Mm-hmm. My mom had a brain aneurysm, 1/2 inch in diameter. She left her house that morning. She went to work as usual. She got sick at school, thought it was headache, thought it was blood pressure, everything else. She went home. My dad, who was supposed to be at the gym getting ready to go to Fort Worth for nationals, was home, saw that she was sick, saw that something was wrong, called my sister, who was supposed to be at the hospital an hour away working her rounds. was not there. She was actually at home. Got there. They finally got her to a hospital, found the aneurysm, and airlifted her to New Orleans, where then science kicked in and they were able to get the aneurysm. Even her neurologist said she should not have left her house that morning. She should not have made it to work that day.
But that doesn't.
Science can't back that up. Science
No,
can't
that
cover
has
it.
not.
That
Which
is where
part of
God
it is
steps
supposed
in
to be
and
explained by science? Which part of that is supposed to be explained by science?
What?
She's talking about everybody not being where they 100% should have been, and everybody's schedule getting thrown off to lead up to a perfect way for her to stay alive. This person should have been gone. They weren't. This person should have been gone. They weren't. This doctor wasn't supposed to be in. He was. This helicopter was not scheduled to be there. It was. This ambulance wasn't supposed to be there. And you got 20 different things all got delayed. And everything went perfect for a situation for someone to live instead of die.
But that's
Science
not something
cannot
to be
explain
explained by
everything.
science. That's
Everything
actually
cannot be-
statistical. That's actually something's mathematic.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's really
You're talking
not.
about chance
No.
of things happening perfectly when they shouldn't. But
Okay,
even
so who provides the chance of that happening?
well, obviously you got to put all the math together. I mean, no one went to no one went to study that and didn't actually come out. What are the chances of this thing happening? If somebody will actually put all those chances together, what, like a 5% chance of this person being there, 2% chance of being there, there's got to be a statistical mathematic drawing out to say what are the chances of this thing happening. So the science can only explain what are the chances of this thing happening. Didn't say this thing explained by science. Science is not gonna explain something that's happening. Science explaining a rule that certain thing had to happen a specific way, right? So what you gotta do today is not explained by science because that's only part of the statistical thing, right? I have 5% chance to go to the bathroom in the next 5 minutes. I have 10%. That's just statistic. All right, that's not something that you explain science. Science only explains certain things happening. All right, what are the chances of that happening? Right, what are the mathematical things this can happen this way? Right, but there is a constant of things that could be explained. Right, for example, gravity. We can only explain what are the chances of this thing getting created this way. Right, but that's science. Again, 50 years ago, science couldn't explain why people go insane or why people have flu, right? But today, as we understand more, science has created this rule. If you do this and that, bacteria gets you and then you get sick, right? Science just that. We explain, you set up a rule and that is going to happen every time. That's how you explain science. Science explained the rule that this ultimate being that created this world had to set the rule for. Right, but then there's so many statistical things that you can put it together that what might have some other thing happen. For example, the COVID-19 vaccines, 95%. They're saying that there's 5% of things that can happen otherwise. Right, 5% of ways that can happen. That's science. But science doesn't tell you that you can control those. You cannot control the 95% or the 5%. Which one's gonna be 5%? Which one's 95%? It's just tell you all that it could happen. All that it could happen. And in the end, when the doctor says, you know, this person should not have lived today, that's a human comment. That's not science. That's based on the doctor's opinion that this shouldn't have happened. That's an opinion.
But
So basically,
if the research of science says somebody with this kind of cancer, no one has lived longer than 2 years, and someone has been alive for 12 years, science fails to explain what God can do in that person's body.
Not one person can say 100% of this disease happens a certain way. Not one person said you're 100% going to die at 35. Not one person. When you go to like a surgery room, they don't say this has 100% success rate. They will never say that. Nobody can, because there's always something that can go wrong, right?
so it's basically theory versus reality.
Well, yeah, I mean, science is a theory, right? In theory, we think this happened and can be repeated. If something can be repeated, we put it as science, right?
So if it can't be repeated, it's not science?
If it cannot be repeated, that means we haven't found the right science for it. We have not found that constant rule.
So
right?
the creation of everything that can't be repeated because everything's created. So
And
that's
nobody
not science.
and nobody said it for sure right now how world is created. Nobody can. Right?
I can.
What you say that one ultimate being has created it, right?
Absolutely.
But the fact that we haven't find that ultimate being, like the proven existence, the science that can repeat that someone else can create this again, the ultimate being. That's why
you can't recreate what's already been created. I mean, if everything in everything, the stratosphere of the whole globe, the universe, and everything else beyond, if that's already been created, how do you recreate a created thing? You can't.
No.
You can only have one thing. Now, here's the thing. Hang on. Here's the thing that science will say, that matter was created out of nothing somehow, to where some type of electrical current caused unliving cells to come together and mutate to form the first life, and that first life created every other last life. And then they try to say it's evolution, that we as humans came from monkeys. The problem is with evolution, if we came from monkeys, then the monkeys wouldn't be as good as we are, so the monkeys would have died off, but they're still here.
Bob, this is the reason why those are called theories.
There's a lot of flaws in trying to explain with a created mind. Our minds are created by God. We're trying to explain what the Creator has done, and we don't have the ability to ascertain all that. That's why we have to have some form of faith. Now, I'm not saying we just defy gravity and say, well, I don't believe in gravity, I'm just going to jump off this cliff and nothing's going to happen to me. There is science, there is facts, and there are things that impact our lives. But we also have to remember that these lives are not even really ours to do with. It is a given gift that was given to us by somebody, by the Creator, that has created everything.
Bob, there are things that we cannot completely proven by science. That's why they call that a theory. A lot of science are still based on theory, and they actually say that is a theory. So evolution is a theory, right? Evolution is a theory. That's why it's still a theory. Now, is there a trace of what evolution does happen? Yes. They actually saying that evolution might came from crossbreeding. Different animals crossbreed and create another animal.
Yeah, but evolution itself said that evolution is the evolution, the bettering of a species. And so the first species had to be evolved because it was not able to maintain in its environment, so it would die off, or it would never have to evolve.
And that's true, because that actually have a backup
evolve from around us.
But that's true though. Different things in a different situation will change your living habitat and adapt. That's been proven. Adaptation is been proven. Again, a lot of stuff, such thing as evolution, this has such a long time frame that we can't prove. We call that a theory, right? Because there's certain things we cannot prove. So
if it's been so long that we've tried to prove those things, why haven't they changed again?
What do you mean, what happened? Because not one person can disprove the adaptation and crossbreeding. Those two things do happen. You can breed a dog smaller and smaller to the size of teacup, right? So that's adaptation, because someone has breeded one animal with someone that's more adapted to the situation. So they create a new breed that is more adapted for what they're doing. That's been proven.
But that's not evolution.
No.
Yeah, that's
crossbreeding is
in itself changing to better itself. You're talking about introducing new traits from new species to make them stronger, for example, and more resilient. That's
Bob,
not
there's
evolution.
There's an example. So black widows. We all know black widow eats the mates, right? There is proven that recently black widows stop eating their mates.
I hang out with the black widows all the time, and I never see their husbands hanging out.
But there's a research for it. There's a research for it. Under specific situation, the black widow will not eat their mate. So they prove that for humans, we adapt all the time, right? We can live in different situations. We can correct our time zone and stuff like that just because we travel, sleep in, and then we create a jet lag and all that stuff. That's adaptation, right? People who like humans, we live in livable temperature, and people can still go to Antarctica and live there. That's adaptation. That's evolution. We learn how we can survive in that situation.
Then how come the process of a frog with a tadpole through that whole process developed into a different animal if it's truly evolving into something next?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
So the process of a frog that we've known it for hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of years, is it goes through its process. You learn in school, you've got a tadpole and then you've got this and then that, and it loses its tail. How come a frog hasn't evolved into something else if it was so capable of moving through that process for so long? Why
Again,
hasn't
that
the frog into something else?
a lot of those were by chance, right? Like when we say which one came first, chicken or the egg, right? That started well with a different kind of bird breeding with another bird that can fly, and then came out with chicken egg. That is evolution. That has crossbreeded, and then they created another thing that's technically the same but not, right? So that had to happen. And a frog had to, DNA had to be able to crossbreed with another thing. They had to meet something that they could, right? So in theory, if the whole entire land used to be one piece or close to be one piece, it was a lot easier to migrate through and went to the wrong place and breed with another thing, right? Tiger and lion can breed out ligers for that reason, right? You could. Certain things can crossbreed.
How do you get
talking about Pangea now?
Say that again?
You're talking about Pangea.
Playing.
Pangea, it's one landmass, and the idea is that the land masses have separated over time.
Right. I mean, that's just in concept, right? If that was the case, animals can go different places and happen to crossbreed with the wrong things, and they create the next thing, right?
I'm curious about this whole thing. Like, how do we get seedless watermelons?
That's human playing God. That's totally different story.
I'm just saying, man.
What the monkeys breed with.
Right. So
seedless watermelon.
Basically, let's go back. Let's go back to this thing, okay? So science, we only have so many human history that we can explain certain things with science. Things that we cannot completely explain became a theory. Until that theory is completely proven, we use it until something says otherwise, right? And the things about and the thing comes about, okay, the ultimate, the creator of the world. That's something that human doesn't have the power to prove yet, right? Unless we find another planet, another world, right? That cannot, because unless it's repeated, it's only a theory until someone, for example, an ultimate being show up in the middle of the earth, says I exist, right? Because you always got.
His name was Jesus.
Well, that's the problem.
His name was Jesus.
That's the problem, because not everybody met Jesus. People who met Jesus probably believe him, but people did not meet Jesus.
Okay, but not everybody has met the soy sauce assassin, but you're still awesome.
Right,
it doesn't diminish who you are because you're not known by everybody.
Right. But then that's why we have religion versus science, right? Science tries to explain the rule. It doesn't disprove religion. Science does not disprove religion. Science tries to find the rule within and try to explain how that works.
Tries to disprove
and able to be repeated.
Yeah. Religion.
Right?
It absolutely tries to disprove it.
Yeah.
That's what Darwin's purpose was.
Science tries to disprove religion, and it does anything and everything it can to disprove religion.
No, that's you're talking about only one side of science. There are people who try to prove religion.
I know Bill Nye, the science guy, went and tried to make fun of the Ark, Noah's Ark guy.
Right? Again, a lot of things in the end, Bible's written by man. Bible's written by man. So, there's got to be people that critique a religion or something like that because, there are some stories that doesn't make sense. There's some story that goes against, God's teaching and stuff like that, and people cherry pick them. That's true. I mean, but then it's because...
Tell me where in the Bible. Tell me where in the Bible a story contradicts itself. Tell me where in the Bible.
You watched over a big, huge thing. Number one, the Bible has been by the hand of man, but inspired by God, and not one thing in there contradicts each other in context. You're talking about the canonization, which the problem was when Jesus left a couple hundred years later, everybody said, I want to get on this Jesus thing, and I want them to follow me and give me the money. So they started writing their own letters that weren't the letters. And so there were false letters going out trying to be Judaizers and separate people from the way, which is what Christianity was called in the beginning, following Jesus, because Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And so in all of that, the canonization of the gospel came together, a set of rules, a science, so to speak. It had to be something from somebody who was there or somebody who knew it firsthand. It had to not contradict. It couldn't be. You can't say that today there was a hurricane in Travelers Rest, South Carolina, and put it in the Bible, because if you look at the history charts, there was no hurricane. It had to be accurate to the time of the day. So the canonization of the Bible was separating those things. The Apocrypha is one of them. Was separating those things that was not the true 66 books of the Bible.
Now, but Bob, not everybody knows that, right? And until a scientific person that goes, I'm going to research this, I'm going to prove this, it's just a theory. Same thing as a scientific theory.
Just because you don't know it doesn't mean it's not true.
So Tony, let me ask you. So if science and archaeology and all that has dug up and found off of Indonesia Noah's Ark, and they can prove that that is real, why would they say that other things that are in the Bible are false?
Well, because you only prove one section of it. You can prove that Noah's Ark is real, but you can't prove that the story, any other than that, is real, right? Now, one of those questions, because a lot of time I have friends that who always go ask their priests like certain questions, and they will get answers like we don't know everything, only God will know the meaning behind it. Sure, okay, that's okay, right? But the Bible only answers one side of the story. It doesn't answer every side of the story, right? And not everything has a trace of proof, right? Okay, we know Jesus existed, that's in history, right? But not everybody see that happening, and why is and the meaning behind it. To search for the rule and how that will happen is what science does, and the science does just find the rule, try to explain something. If we haven't found it, it's a theory. So
you're saying if it hasn't been seen by somebody and it can't be proved by actual evidence, then if it's just writings, you can't consider that to be possible truth.
True, yeah.
Okay, have you ever seen a picture of George Washington?
Yes.
A photograph?
Drawing, yeah.
Have you ever seen a photograph? Anybody can draw anything. You can draw Jesus, you can draw whoever.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen a photograph of George Washington, or you haven't watched a video of him or spoken to him, is he real?
Sure. Okay.
History says it is. If you look in the canonization of the Bible, not only do
wait, Bob, I got it. I had to stop you there.
All sorts
Bob,
of scrolls.
I had to stop you there. Just because it's in history doesn't mean it's true.
George Washington is.
Yeah, but then not everything's true. Here, how many people die in Tiananmen Square?
I don't know.
0.
I don't know.
What? But it's in history. It's in history. But the people often debate certain things. The winners write the history, right? So not all the time the way the history written down the way it is true.
You look at today's history. You telling me the winners are writing today's history?
Well, they will be writing in textbooks, so yeah.
Are you telling me that everything in the textbooks are right?
No, but that's what I'm saying. You say if it's in the history, then if it's written down, it must be true. It's not true. That's not a true statement.
So then we can only trust everything that happens in our lives that we've seen, touched, tasted, or heard,
or otherwise proven and agree upon.
How do we prove it? If the winners write the history, they could write it wrong.
Exactly. That's why people study it, and that's what become a science. People had to study it, had to research it, had to prove it. Right? That's what became a science. If you can't prove it, it's a theory. Right? We commonly agree upon a certain theory works. Right? Like E = mc squared. That's a theory. We use it because it was commonly think that it works. But to today, that is still a theory.
So I'm just going to chime in here. Science is never going to prove that God exists because God wants us to have faith.
Agreed.
Amen.
But why does God need us to have faith?
God doesn't need us.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If it doesn't need us, why it needs us to have faith?
God chooses to have a relationship with us, and He wants us to come to Him of our own free will. If it was guaranteed, if everything was perfectly written down, you wouldn't have to make a decision, a personal decision, because it's all written down. I know that if I drive over 55 miles an hour on a main road that says 55 miles an hour, I'm going to get a speeding ticket. It's black and white. It's just very simple. But if I have to decide as to how I'm going to drive if there is no sign up there. I have to make a decision on what I think is best. And so having a relationship I have to have a faith where I can have a belief, and now we're going to get all
But Bob,
spiritual and all this stuff on it. But until the Holy Spirit actually taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, you need to listen to God," you couldn't hear God no matter what.
But Bob, don't you think God has offered us science so that we can find our way there?
I believe God has given us science, but we cannot go to any way without faith.
But again, for those people who doesn't have faith, science proves that there's an ultimate rule out there.
Oh, it doesn't.
You know, God allow you to have that knowledge so that you can search for the rule, and ultimately find out that everything has a constant rule that evolves, and someone created that rule.
No, anyone who allows science to bring them down that path is trying to find a way to disprove God exists.
So
they're not looking for the science. They're not looking for the intentions of why God gave us science.
No, I think science actually proves.
They're looking to disprove God ever existed.
No.
They're looking to
Science
disprove. No.
Science proved that there is ultimate being has created something. Adam was created by something, right? The more that you understand science, the more you understand that something has happened. It's out of human control, and that's what it is. That has further proved that there's something there.
If I put you in if I have an empty table in front of you, and you have absolutely nothing, how can you create something?
What do you mean?
If you have absolutely nothing in front of you, no material, no matter, nothing, how can you create something?
That's why I say science has bring you closer to say you cannot have nothing from something from nothing, and something has created that nothing, and something to start with, the beginning of it. Something has created all that offering to exist, right? That's what science explains. We cannot create those things. Those things just exist, right? The more you understand science, the more you understand that the initial part of everything has created by something. We just cannot prove what that is. Right? Now, everybody create that. No, everybody use a different name for that. Everybody use different name for that, right? Some people use Allah, some people use Buddha, some people, but there is an ultimate being that has created that. The more you understand science, the more you know that you cannot have nothing. If it cannot have something from nothing.
Hold on, Tony. Hold on.
Oh yeah, we get mad. That is what my students look like.
I got a question. The world's overpopulated right now. That's a general consensus. If you murder your best friend, and science proved that that's not wrong.
What?
And is that admissible? The world's overpopulated. There's too many people. If you murdered your best friend, is that right or wrong?
Well, murder is wrong.
Yeah. Why?
Because you are taking away life from someone else. That
we're overpopulated. We're overpopulated right now. Is it still wrong?
No, but what do you mean by overpopulated?
Like I'm saying, the world's got too many people. We're burning up resources. So if you murdered your best friend, is it still wrong?
When you say burning out resource, that cannot be. That statement is not true. You don't have the thing. That's a choice. That's a choice. Doesn't matter how many people is on Earth. The point of using that resource is by human nature, by choice. It's not that we needed it.
But why is murder wrong?
Why is murder wrong? Because you decided murder wrong because you don't want to be the one that got murdered.
Who decided?
I know, but why is it wrong though? What makes us know that murder's wrong? Why is it wrong? Because if there's nobody to answer to, then why is it wrong?
How do you mean that there's nobody to answer to? The reason that you have murder is wrong is because mass amount of people says, I don't want murder to happen to me, so we got to make sure that's wrong. So we teach our kids to say, this is the law we have set together to say murder is wrong because I don't want that to happen to me.
Where was that first said?
Yeah, who decided that murder was wrong?
That really depends where you're asking.
Without God, everything is admissible. It doesn't matter what you do, you don't have to pay a price for it.
That's not true because you're talking about different culture have the same concept without talking to, without the teaching of Christianity or Jesus Christ.
But they all still agree that murdering a loved one is wrong.
Yeah, because they come to universally agree that I don't want my loved one to be killed, so we make that wrong.
Okay, but why?
Yeah, but why? Did they feel bad the first time they did it? Did they feel guilty?
You're talking about the person, whether or not the person who killed feels guilty, but I'm talking
Right.
about is the person who lost their loved one came about and argued that was bad. Right? If you're talking about different locations history, Chinese history, back in the day, people can just kill. If you're rich enough, you kill anybody.
I mean,
right?
that still happens today.
Right? There's no religion involved. There's still religion, but then its power gets to that's like a king. I can sentence you to death. Because I'm the king. I'm the rule. Right? People rebel against that because they don't want that to happen to them, and that's what creates a new law, new rules, to be able to survive together. That really.
But what about?
But
what about the human conscience, though? What
makes it wrong?
Like lying. Lying doesn't. Let's say you told a lie. Everybody knows lying is wrong.
That doesn't happen.
Anybody.
That doesn't happen to everything, though. Like there are people there are tribes and places where murdering is just part of their lifestyle. That's different. You gotta say, oh, because back in the day God or Jesus come down and say that's wrong. You have bad feeling, blah blah blah. But that depends how you brought up. There are people that brought up a bandit never feel bad thing about killing somebody.
Okay, Tony.
But that's what I'm saying. The human conscience, though, because no matter what, even the dirtiest murderous tribes in the world, there are things that they do that they feel bad about. Where does that come from?
Well, then what about those tribes that does cannibalism? They don't feel bad. They actually think it's a good thing that they kill somebody and eat them.
But what if they cut down a tree and they feel guilty because the trees are where they live? Where does that come from?
Well, again, you're saying that somebody feel guilty about something. That has to be taught. That has to be taught. Some people don't know that. How did defecating in public? How do you know that was bad? It's because your adults tell you that was bad. Right? Someone had to teach you that. If you were not taught that, human instinct doesn't tell you that was bad. You don't know that.
I think human instinct, even with babies, they react in certain ways that aren't taught even when they're small. Like nobody teaches a baby laughter. They do that on their own.
Baby's first instinct is to cry, not laugh.
Right, but that's the crying is a breeding deal when they first come out of the womb. But what teaches them to be afraid, to laugh, or any of that?
Well, that emotion was actually passed down with your DNA. I mean, some people are born without it. So you gotta explain those two. How does a baby, some people were born without ability to feel pain. You gotta explain that too.
Autism.
Right?
No,
Right?
There are people that.
That's a tough one.
So there are exceptions. It cannot just say that because we are the way we are today, that means everybody else is the same. It depends how you're brought up, and whether or not somebody tell you was wrong, right?
Basically, like the people being born without pain and with autism and stuff, it can't be proven why they're like that.
Well, the proven is that somewhere in their DNA they screwed up.
But they don't know how the DNA got that way. They know it's messed up, but they don't know how or why.
Well, because human hasn't completely decoded the DNA yet, haven't we?
Right.
Right. But we did find some correlation between DNA and how we act.
Because DNA is completely undecipherable as a whole.
That's why you say right now. But back in the day, we don't even know what DNA existed.
Right.
Right. So the thing about science is to continue to research, continue to try to explain. Try to explain is the key word. Try to explain how the rule works.
Correct.
Until we figure it out. Once we figure it out, it's no longer a theory. That become a rule. That become a fact.
And we will all figure it out one day. That's guaranteed.
Right.
Yep.
So I don't know what's there to argue about. That's true.
No, we're on the
But
same
that's why I
page
say
with
everything
that.
can be explained by science. Until then, it's a theory. Isn't that how it is? Disease, everything that we know today, back in the day, was just imaginary. Somebody say, maybe that's the case. Let's try it out. And then they find out. That became the rule. That became the fact. That became a science. Science is just explanation how this rule worked. It can be repeated.
Not everything can be repeated.
No,
Then that's a theory.
not a theory.
No, creation has never been proven to be from one thing or the other from what you're saying through science. And so if you can't repeat it, it doesn't happen.
It's a theory until it's been proven. Just like evolution is a theory, Big Bang is a theory, because we can't repeat it.
So then it'll always stay a theory.
Until somebody can, yeah. You stay in theory until somebody can.
Well, according to science, it is, right?
According to science.
What? But according to real world, is a theory.
No.
Have a good night, Joe.
I am not theoretical.
That's where y'all differ. That's where the difference is.
I am really here. This is
Bob.
me.
But Bob, did the Big Bang really happen? Did the Big Bang really happen?
Did the Big Bang happen?
Yeah. Big Bang theory, right? So all the meteor came down, killed all the dinosaurs. Did that really happen?
Get ready to roll your eyes because I'm gonna get some feedback from you on this. I believe that the Earth is less than 10,000 years old. I believe creation happened less than 10,000 years ago. I do not believe it happened millions and billions and gazillions of years ago. I believe that everything was created in 6 days and God rested on the seventh. And so science and theory and everything else says that all the stratospheres of all the bones and all of this and all of that, they have these theories that's carbon dating, which has been disproven, has all these theories that stuff has lasted bagillions of years and stars have lasted even longer, and I don't believe that.
Right, because they were theories. Unless somebody can prove it, it's a theory, right? We have a theory that Earth has a core and there's like a lava and stuff like that. That's just a theory. We don't know how the core of Earth really looks like. Nobody drove that deep before. It's a theory. But until somebody drove it, and one day somebody's gonna create something that goes boom all the way in there, destroy the entire Earth. And so, oh yeah, that was right. That guy was right. Or yeah, that guy was wrong. Right? So until then, it's a theory. We think that's what's going on, and we try to prove whether or not that is. And until then, it stays a theory. And then we utilize those theory because it was fitting, but not because they were true. It was because they were fitting.
There will be a day where all of it will be.
But we started out with science can explain everything. Now we know that it can't explain everything.
No, I say it could explain everything. If we couldn't, it's a theory, and until we figured out how to. But science is supposed to be able to
explain everything.
Science is a research of something. Until somebody go research that, you're not gonna obviously find the answer. But science can research everything and try to explain it.
So there's a difference, Tony, between science can research and try to explain, and science can prove.
I say science can explain everything. I didn't say science can prove everything.
Tony, this is the part.
Science can't explain everything.
Science can explain everything.
This isn't a dog pot question. It's just a question for me to understand where you're coming from. To be honestly, you're my friend, and I'm just reaching in to try to think of how you're thinking. And so if you don't answer this, don't answer this. Do you believe that there was some sort of creator that created everything?
If we got that's like no brainer. Of course I believe one ultimate being has created everything to start. Like there's a set of rule. Ultimate rule says this earth is gonna be this way. You know, all this grass is gonna, photosynthesis. They all had to be created somewhere, right? If you're a science person and didn't think that something has created the starting pellet, then you're real retarded. You know, being science, you know you cannot create something out of nothing. Someone had to give you all that.
That's why you're retarded.
Right? Someone has to give you all that stuff to start, right? And then from there, it changes, right? And based on that one set of rules, it doesn't change. That rule is still there, right? No matter what we do every day, gravity still gotta exist. That rule of falling, getting up, coming down to the earth, is still gotta exist, right? No, even if you find airplane, that rule still exists. You can fly, yeah, but you still have to follow that rule, that sensei rule to make airplane fly. But the starting pellet had to come from somewhere, right? But whether or not you want to call it God, you want to call it whatever, something created it. Just not everybody can agree on that word God.
What did I jump into this morning?
Right? Can you agree with that, Bob?
James Irvin is here, and Martina Maya is here. Man, we've got the superstar cast playing tonight. Shit.
We got Bob here, yeah.
But
Well,
Bob,
James-
can we agree on that? Can we agree on that? Like, you know, even with science, we agree something has give you the starting palette.
I agree.
James,
So Tony, there's a term for that. It's called agnostic.
Okay.
well, I just want to fill James in. James, it started when I talked about the 3 guys that check into the hotel and they all spend $10. That's what started all.
No, but that's the way it is. Like when you
that's
argue
what's-
religion, right? When you argue religion, there's so many sets of different religion. Like Bob believe in, you know, Jesus Christ and, you know, our Savior and God. We believe in Buddhism and, you know, spirit, heaven and hell, right? And then, you know, but then in the end we can't prove that, and that's just religion. We in the end, I think religion should be used to follow a good living, you know, to be a good person. Not really now. And then I use science to explain how things are, right? You know, TV and all that. Use science to explain that. Of course, there's coincidence and all that stuff, sixth sense, whatever. That science cannot prove yet. But, you know, statistically, we try to explain it. We try to make sense of what everything is. Humans constantly try to make sense of everything. And by using that science, we try to explain that, right? But in the end, there are things that we can't explain yet, right? Think about the things we know today versus 50, 100 years ago. We didn't know everything, but science was given to us. Say, here, you want to find out how this works? Here's science. Go research on it. Go dig deeper to find out what this means. And maybe in the end, you guys will realize that somebody give you all these shit.
There's only one rule you gotta follow. Don't listen to the guy in the red spaceship. Only listen to the guy from the blue spaceship. Okay.
What? What was that?
Wow.
Right? So, I mean, even if you believe in complete science or you believe in religion at the end, I think that science can explain everything. It's just whether or not we got there yet. Right? Science was used to, that we developed to explain something. Right? Something that we don't know. We don't know fire. We don't know what fire is. But use science, we explain that as energy that actually burns something. Right? That is our way to make sense of it. I mean, obviously, in the beginning, just like, oh, God give you fire. Ooh, warm, hot, you know? But what this is the knowledge. It's the knowledge that human was given the ability to answer to. So whether or not you believe in religion, whether or not you believe in science, in the end, science was just there to explain something. Right? It doesn't disprove anything. It just helps you to explain.
James, was that a Republican Democrat thing you just said, or
No. It doesn't follow.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, it sounds like an argument, but it sounds like an argument, but I'm not trying to argue that something created everything.
I don't consider it an argument at all.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there's no such thing as something created everything.
I think this is how we're supposed to talk.
Right?
Yeah, it's dialogue.
I agree that something has created the startup of everything. Something has created the startup everything. How we utilize is different. Right? I'm pretty sure a lot of things that humans are utilizing today is not how the creator intended at first. Right? So
very often you can get this kind of conversation on Down to the Nub every Sunday with Cigar Show Tim and Cigar Mechanic Brandon.
But if you want to find out about cigar, you go to Bob the Cigar
true.
Guy.
There you go.
If you want to listen to cigars, you can go to Bob the Cigar Guy.
Right? So you know what I mean. I'm not trying to argue that religion doesn't
Sunday.
exist.
Tomorrow's guest, Enrique Sanchez of 1502 Cigars.
Here we go. Right? So I know whenever you get into a religion conversation, it gets heated. You know, but you know, I feel like there is a common ground somewhere, right? There's common ground somewhere where science tries to explain how religion exists, right? But I believe that not everything in religion written down the way it is are all true. I think that there is some misunderstanding or how translated wrong or whatever. That is not the way it is. For example, like God created the first two people, right? Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Can we agree on that? So where the rest of the human came from?
Adam and Eve.
Okay, so how many times do they breed a day? How many times do they breed a day? If you take 1 year to give one birth to one human being, how many years do you think you need to get to today?
Well, would they live to be 1,000? You know, less than 1,000, but
They didn't have cable.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. You know, that will take a long time to get to here. So if you don't think that
to say that, though,
human history is that long,
is
so
to
how long did it get to
agree
today?
To do that is to agree that at least back then incest was not a problem.
Right, but then
The
religion
brother and
tells you
sister had to
incest
have
is not
sex
a
after
sin.
that to carry on the race, you know.
Didn't incest is a sin in Christian teaching? So they just perform an incest, and all their family members perform an incest. You know, that's something that you can't explain, right? You know, that's the way it is. Now, we don't know the story behind that because we don't know. We don't know, right? We don't know if God really only created 2 people. In fact, God can create like 1 million people sitting somewhere, different breed, different race or whatever. We just don't know. We just don't know. We just know whatever part that was being told to us, right? And that you had to take it with a grain of salt and maybe some wine to understand.
Now, you talked about Adam and Eve, so you're talking about the Christian God, right?
I guess so.
Okay, so I can speak on that. Here's the problem. The Bible says that if any part of it is false, all of it is false. If any part of it is false and it's God's written word, then he has committed sin. And if he's committed sin, then he can't die for our sins because he has to die for his sins. And so we can't have eternal salvation with him. And so if God said, I created Adam and Eve and that's it. Or it's all wrong. One way, you get it one way or you get it the other. You don't get it in between.
Yeah, but it doesn't say word that only 2 people created were Adam and Eve. It says in the beginning God created Adam and Eve.
True. Yeah.
It doesn't say anywhere else that God created any more.
Exactly.
But doesn't say doesn't mean he lied.
Reading into it automatically that it's complete, but there are holes in the Bible.
Yeah, like Bob, if it's not white, it doesn't mean it's black.
Holes.
And Adam and Eve lived to be over 900 years old. Okay, so think of the process of multiplication. So you figure at, we'll say 30 years old, even though traditionally in the Old Testament, everything, childbearing years started about 10 years before that, 10 to 13 years before that. Think of, okay, 9-month pregnancy, you go, let's say 60 years, you can have 60 people multiply, and it's like a pyramid scheme. It's a domino effect of how many. Within 900 years, you could have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people on the planet.
Sure, and that is all caused by inbreeding, incest.
When you get to its core of it, yes, but when you get to the part, if that's the case, then shoot, my wife and I are brother and sister.
Exactly, that's the problem, isn't it? So that's a loophole where the Bible is saying that inbreeding is sin, but
there are family units, and each family unit, as defined by culture, frankly, I mean, through the Bible and different tribes and family units, is how it separates out.
But the first few set wouldn't be like that. The first few set is incest.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, there's loophole that we can't explain yet. Until then. Again,
it actually can be explained. And I don't want to get into it because it's not a 5-minute conversation over a group of people. It's hours upon hours of laying things out systematically, so that you can understand that how things change from point to point to point to point. How there were different things to do. You don't learn the same thing. You learn math in 5th grade, but you don't learn 5th grade math in college. There are different rules and there are different levels of things, and there were different levels as we grew through. When you first open up a cigar shop, a little guy's cigar shop, you do things, you buy a huge inventory in hopes that it will sell. And then once that is sold, you're already buying inventory to resupply. And so there's a different mindset in your first purchase, opening up the grand opening, in compared to maintaining for the rest. And so when God put Adam and Eve on there, that's the grand opening, baby. And so there were different rules and different inventories necessary to be able to get started to where it can maintain upon itself.
Sure. I mean, you can say that. And at the same time, we say that. We also say about, you know, when the written says God created Adam and Eve, just because God didn't say I created something else too, it doesn't make it false. You know what I'm saying? You say that if it's either all true or all false, but what is missing in there in the whatever that's written doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Well, let's do this. All but 8 of Adam and Eve's descendants died anyway? Let's say in your theory, you had Adam and Eve, the world was populated. Noah, the entire world flooded, everybody died. You had 8 people get off the boat. There's that.
Let's go back to something else. You know, you talk about if it's not in the Bible, it didn't happen. Well, the Bible only talks about 3 sons from Adam and Eve and no daughters. Doesn't say they had any daughters at all. Not one daughter. The Bible, name.
And didn't one committed murder and lied?
Women? Did they all have sex with their mom?
I am not saying, I don't know, but I am not saying
That's
that
what
there
I'm
were
talking
not.
about. There's holes in the Bible.
I'm not saying that there weren't other children that weren't put in there. If the Bible was written of every last person's detail of every last person's life, then that book would be so large you'd have to spend everybody's lifetime just reading it.
Of course. But what all we're saying is that because there's things missing that we kind of fill in the blanks for ourselves, and have over time for what seems logical to us, but that doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it false, but it doesn't make it true either.
Theory.
But I think
It's what we want to just how we decide to believe it, and it's okay.
But incest in the Bible didn't come in.
For,
Incest in the Bible didn't come in until Leviticus. There were hundreds of years from the creation of man until Leviticus took place, until the book of Leviticus and the historical events of Leviticus happened. That's when it was made law, passed down to man that incest was wrong. So here's my belief on it. Adam and Eve were created. They multiplied. They were fruitful. They filled the earth. God said, okay, I have what I need to create the humankind, the mankind, the civilizations to fill the world enough. Now I'm going to say that part of my plan is done. So here I'm going to make this wrong because you're not God. I am. I can decide that. And I'm going to pass that down as Levitical law.
Yeah, that is a good logical conclusion, but it's not written anywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's a conclusion. It's a rationalization.
Like I say, when it goes to religion, it will be a forever show. Like we will be able to talking for 3 years and not stop. So I'm just saying that we can come to a common conclusion. Religion's one way and science try to explain certain things. Until then, we don't know, right? Until then, we know. There's no point to argue that if you believe one way, that's fine. You don't have to force to believe the other way. I believe as a science person that science can explain everything, just whether or not we use it to explain something. It's whether or not we have the time to go research this and explain it, right? Not you're saying that science cannot explain certain things because nobody had done the research for it, right? Doesn't mean we can't explain it. We could if we take the time because that's a tool we have. Science is a tool we have to use to explain certain things. Right?
But there's only one thing that matters, and that's this.
Adam.
When we're all laying in our bed, possibly wheezing like a dying animal, the only thing that matters is the condition of my soul and the condition of the scientist's soul. Because when they're sitting there and the room gets dark and all these demons come from hell and start grabbing them, what kind of science equation are they going to use to tell them to let them go? Because I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, I'm bought by the blood of Jesus Christ. Let me go.
Okay. But then first, science had to do the research on demon, but nobody did that yet. So
they will.
Yeah. Somebody
get every lesson they ever want on it.
Yeah. When church decides to pay the money, says we gotta do a research on demon, then we'll find out what demon really is. But until then, yeah, science is not going to try to explain that. It doesn't mean science cannot explain it. It's just nobody funding it.
There's only one important thing: God's love, and we all need a lot of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
right?
So Tony,
all agree with that.
There are a couple people and they were kids that passed away, and you can look this up. They were dead for a set period of time. When they came back, they had a vision of Jesus. 2 separate continents, 2 different kids, unrelated, completely unbeknownst to each other. They literally drew the same picture of Jesus Christ. Science can't explain that.
Well, because science cannot repeat it yet. You gotta literally say, "Can I kill you?" to see if you can see that. No one's gonna try that.
Look at how many people have been dead for 20 minutes, dead medically, science for 20 minutes, come back and say, this is what I saw, and have very, very, very similar tellings, actions.
You can do that.
Events,
That's the
incidents.
thing. Science only researched the brain for so much. We don't completely understand how brain works. So you telling the current science level to explain that, it's gonna be hard, right? Until we figure out how brain actually really works. You know, and for a long time, everybody thought we only use 10% of our brain. We don't, right? We use 10% capacity of our brain majority of the time, but we don't really understand how those come about. Why we image the way that we do, right? Why when we're thinking about something, we can taste something at the same time, right? Those the things are being researched one at a time, and somebody had to fund that research, right? So yeah, this thing happened. Science could use to explain that, but someone had to fund it. Nobody did. So we didn't go research. Again, someone had to go, can you go die for 20 minutes and I can figure out what that really is? Let's put a thing on your brain and then, try to research it. Nobody did that. So we can't explain it yet, right? Again, I talk about science is a tool to understand something, to explain something. But until we try to do that, it wouldn't be explained because it's just theory, right? Apparently, it could be repeated because there are some people, different locations have the same happening. It can be repeated. Just whether or not somebody did the research, why.
Well, Tony, let me ask you a question. So, as you mentioned, you believe in a higher being, a higher power. Do you think that there's any possible way that science could ever prove that that higher being exists?
Not in my lifetime. I think that's the answer I can give. Not in my lifetime. Oh, but again, a lot of things that what we thought could be explained cannot be ever explained today or explained nowadays, right? Like how certain things work, like quantum science and light beams, like certain chemical glass that doesn't break, that kind of stuff. We never imagined that science can do that. But slowly we come to understand molecular bonds and stuff like that, and that actually explains a lot of other questions that we have in the past, right? So until we have that ability, we will never be able to explain it.
And when you said no, but you're still going to continue to believe, that's faith.
Yeah, I'm never say faith is not a thing. Believing something, in the theory, the way things are, so long as it makes sense, I'm gonna believe it, and that's how everything works nowadays, right? If I tell you, if you jump in the water, you gotta drown and die and suffocate, you might not have tried it yourself, but you believe it. I gotta tell you, suffocation is very painful, but because it makes sense, you're gonna believe it.
I'd probably jump in the water.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, just because we believe certain things that make sense. That's why we use a lot of theories today, because it makes sense to us, right? And I can't explain if something has created everything, right? But then it appears that way, so I'm gonna believe that because I cannot disprove it, right? Someone literally hand you the place at this Earth right there, go live in there, right? But somebody did that. I don't know who that is. I can't prove it, but I can disprove it. So I'm just gonna believe somebody did, right? Until someone just say, no, you're wrong, Tony. Actually, my uncle did that. Well, if your uncle can prove it to me, then I will believe that. But for now, I'm gonna believe this set of theory because it makes sense to me. Just like religion, certain religion makes sense to you, right? Like in China, Buddhism makes sense to them because whatever they explain how things happen, it makes sense to them, right? So faith is not science. Faith is just a favoritism to a truth that you believe, right? You choose to believe that because it makes sense to you, right? There's plenty of cult that does not make sense, but people choose to believe that. That's faith, but not necessarily to the right thing, right? There's like, I'm the ultimate God. All the women should come over to me because I am the messenger of God. There's plenty of those out there, right? But is that disproving anything or proving anything? No. I mean, just people who choose to believe that particular explanation of something. Right? And I choose to believe that there, in theory, something has created everything, right? And then, like I say, everybody choose a different name. I just use thing, but you guys might use God. Some people might use Buddha, Buddhism, the heaven and earth. Chinese people believe that everybody who dies goes to the hell, period. there's no heaven we can go to, right? You know, just how it makes sense to us. We can't prove it. I can't prove it. I've never been to hell, right? People literally die and then like to say falsely died and come back, and they actually describe how hell is. Literally, they say that we walked by a bridge, there's red flower, and literally they were able to draw the same kind of flower, all of them, and that's how that history came about. Chinese people believe that if you die, you go through this bridge without those flowers. But until I can disprove it, I believe that's the case. Okay, it's like, okay, we all gotta go hell. Okay, fine, right? And you have Christians says like, if you believe in God, you go to heaven. Well, I've never been to heaven. I can't prove that. So I cannot argue that fact, and I cannot argue that you don't or you do go there. But I can say that I can say that when Bob asks, do you believe one thing has created everything? I believe that, because I can't disprove that. Every evidence out there says something has created something. Right? Literally everything in science said that something has happened before human, before Adam, before matter. Something has created something. That's what science explained. But science couldn't explain God because we don't have the ability to prove that yet. Right? So again, science is only a tool to explain. Right? So that's why I say science can explain everything. Science is a tool to explain, seek answers. Right? Whatever that answer that was intended for us.
It's a process.
Yeah, it takes time. It takes somebody had to research. Somebody had to have the willingness to learn what's behind this. You know, it's like red pill and blue pill. Which one you gotta take? You know, do you want to seek the truth behind this, or you just gotta leave it the way it is? Right? A religion are like that. It says, here, you can take the blue pill. I will tell you what it is, and you just have to simply believe it because this is how it is. I have my proof. Right? And the science, like, I'll take the red pill. I'll prove it to myself using all these evidence. That's why I say science can explain everything. Whether or not somebody did, it's a different story. Someone had to take that leap and say, I want to find out why bird can fly but human can't. Does that make sense? I think that's a pretty generalization why I say science can explain everything. Science cannot prove everything, but science can explain everything. Right? You just had to someone had to do the research on. Nobody did, then no. Right? And you know, a lot of time, we just believe based on what we're told because that makes sense. That makes perfect sense, right? I have this happening to me. It was really bad, and then I prayed to God, and literally good things had happened. Okay, in that situation, faith makes sense. But somebody literally can say because this and that, that's why it happened. But somebody had to pay that attention to that. Somebody had to put the money, research, interview everybody. It doesn't even make sense to do that, to prove that. To prove that in one instance. That's why nobody can. That's why nobody can. But science is the tool to understand that. Science is what we use to explain something. It's the tool, right? Science itself is not a thing. It's a tool that we utilize. It's given to us to say, hey, if you want to understand something, here's a tool that you can. All right? Here's what you're given to, okay? Knowledge. Knowledge is science. Science knowledge, right? Here is given to you so you can go understand it if you want to. If not, you can just believe this. We already written it out for you. You believe this. Here's the Bible. Right? Read this. You understand it. You believe it. Good. You're going to heaven. But if you don't, that's fine. Here's science. Here's a tool. Go figure it out. And in the end, ultimately, I'm pretty sure you got to find the same thing. That's what the two sides really are. Right? That doesn't matter what you believe. Right? One is the tool to understand. The other one is I given you the story. You choose to believe it.
I think Albert said IKEA.
Well, does what I say kind of make sense? Does it sound fair to you guys? I feel like that's fair. You know, religion is someone has told you the story and given you the proof. Science is here's a tool. Go find out yourself.
I think science is man's way of trying to explain the unexplainable and feel better about questions they don't have answers to.
But isn't that means that, you know, that's what I say. It's a tool that you can go explain something.
That's where faith comes in. You go, just because science can't explain and or prove it, I choose to believe.
Okay, so I got a question. And I love asking this question. Okay, so man is fallible. We can all agree on that, right?
Okay.
Okay, so the Bible, being divinely inspired, okay, has been hand down and translated multiple times. So do you not think that a lot of the translation has been lost in the fallibility of man over time?
Of course.
If you
Same,
go back to the
same
original,
thing with the script for Buddhism. Same thing.
you go to the
Okay,
original
so-
Greek and Hebrew or the Aramaic, the Greek and Hebrew text of it, that language has not changed over time. Our adaptation of how we explain those words has changed, but the core original text has not.
So then, so in modern Christianity, how can you say it's finite if that's the adaptation everybody has come to?
Because there are ways that people will use definitions to understand things easier. There are multiple different translations of the Bible. Some of them are what are called thought for thought, which is a paraphrase. Some of them are word for word. Some of them are like the Message. It is a story in the way that it is written. It is all a tool used to help you understand what the original text says. Now, will I say that some translations are not as good as others? Yes, when you compare it to the original text. But there are some translations, the New American Standard, whether you go with the original New American Standard from the 70s or you go to the New American Standard revised in 1995, there are, and actually again in 98, those are word for word translations, but it is the same way that I can look at you or Travis can look at you and say, okay, I need 208 3-phase and I needed this and this and this. Wait, what does that mean? Okay, so 3-phase is this, and when you break it down, this is how you can get it so you can plug your regular 110 into your wall. It doesn't mean that 208 3-phase is not accurate and not true and not provable. It just means that you had to have it in a way, and that's not a matter of intellect, but you had to have it in a way that was processable for you.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking is, okay, so but that each adaptation is in turn translated by man, and man by definition is fallible. So
Okay.
so the word cannot be finite if man is the one translating it, even if it's divinely inspired.
I'd like to jump in on this if I could, if you don't mind.
No, go for it.
All right,
We don't
so
mind.
I can only speak on my experience. As I went through school to learn how to be a preacher, we got into that, and you know there are different translations. Why is there a King James and New American Standard and the ASV and all these other things? If the Bible's the Bible, then why do we need all these ways to have it written? How come it doesn't sound exactly the same? And here's the problem: the English language is a lot less descriptive than the Hebrew, the Greek, and the Aramaic. It has a lot less words. And so the Bibles that I use, the things that I study, like Tim was talking about, is word for word and thought for thought. The Bibles I use are word for word and thought for thought, but they also have the Hebrew, the Greek, and the Aramaic words in there with a concordance, which is basically a dictionary of those words. The Bible that I use, which is my New American Standard, goes back to the Dead Sea Scrolls and the other writings way back then. So yes, if there was a translation differently in the German or in the Latin or in the Septuagint or in all these others, there could be a little bit of a skew, a little bit of a twist. I didn't want that, so I wanted to go back to the originals, as close to the original manuscripts as possible. And so the Dead Sea Scrolls, when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, these priests were cloistered away. They did nothing but this. They were by themselves. That's all they did. One guy would read the original scroll, and the other person they would say the letter A, and he would write the letter A and say the letter A, and then the next word would be B, and he would write it down, and they would go that way. And then they would have to read out the whole sentence to make sure it was exactly correct. And then that would be sent to another guy who had to read it. If that page had one mistake on it, they could rechange that mistake. If they had two mistakes on it, they had to get rid of it completely. And so they went in and found all these Dead Sea Scrolls, all these basically Bible copies and scrolls, and they found those, and they found that there was little to no differentiation in all of them. And so that's the standard which I went through to make sure that what I'm hearing is God's inspired word instead of the word that's been applied by somebody else. Some of the scriptures, a simple scripture where Jesus is talking, he goes, "Do you love me, Peter?" And he goes, "Yes, I love you." And he goes, "Well, feed my sheep." And he goes, "Well, do you love me, Peter?" And he goes, "Yes, I love you. Feed my sheep." And he goes, "Do you love me, Peter?" And he goes, yes, I love you. And he goes, feed my sheep. And that's not actually what it's saying. It's saying, do you love me as God? And he says, I love you as a brother. And he goes, do you love me as God? He goes, I love you as a brother. He says, do you love me as a brother? And it dawned on him that he was not making that sacrifice of him as being the creator, as him to being God. And he goes, I love you as God. And so if you just use that word love, if you don't understand the translation, you can take it out of context and not understand what the depth of the scripture is. So yes, there is a chance that a pastor or a prophet or a teacher or somebody standing on a corner can spin and twist these things. There's tons and tons and tons of people who have spent their lives building their power by twisting and skewing the word. That doesn't mean that the word is not true. That doesn't mean that people say, well, I don't go to church because they're bad churches. I had a bad experience. And my first question to them when I was in ministry was, have you ever went to a restaurant and had bad food and bad service? And he said, yes. I said, well, you ever been to another restaurant? He said, yes. I said, why? Because it was good. Well, then there are some people who will skew and twist things and make them bad. And there are some people who will give you the divine inspired word from God as God put the word into them through his word. Does that make sense?
It does. My question with that is, even in the original divinely inspired Dead Sea Scrolls on the Aramaic and everything, that's still written by man, and it is almost indefinitely fallible in and of itself, because man is still writing it, even if it's under some divine inspiration, because man, with the way your mind works, is going to put it into the interpretation that you see fit.
But man didn't write the 10 Commandments. God actually wrote that.
I look at it this way. It was God's writing, but he used man's hand. Just like if I type something on a computer and I print it out, the computer printed it out, but I was the one that put it in there. And God used these people to write these texts so that they could be translated. But it's all about if anything is flawed with the Bible, the whole Bible's wrong. And if the Bible's wrong, then God is wrong. And every Christian is wasting their time, because there's no way into heaven through Jesus Christ if Jesus Christ is flawed.
Bob, here's a question.
So God has taken away their free will at that time when speaking through them.
I think they're surrendering to God's will freely so that God can use them as a vessel for his scriptures.
So there can be no fallibility in that.
I believe there can't be in the original scripture of God. I believe there can't be. Now that's a decision that you have to believe, and science can't make that decision. It has to be on that faith thing.
Right.
And I believe God sets that up so that we have to choose to believe.
Bob, let me ask you a question, right? So, in a common belief, this is a common belief, okay? That if for Christians, if you don't believe in God, you don't surrender to God, you're not gonna go to heaven. Is that true?
The only thing that allows you to go to heaven is a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. None of us has the ability to go to heaven on our own. We all have sin. Sin can't go to heaven no matter what it is. And so Jesus Christ has to accept our sin because he's without sin, and he paid the price on the cross for us. So to answer your question, you have to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, surrendering to him and receiving his gift of salvation.
But then what about those people that has no access to this teaching?
God reveals himself, and the Bible says that God reveals himself to everybody. Just because somebody has a belief does not mean that it has to be the exact name. But Buddha does not fit. Muhammad does not fit. Confucius does not fit. The spaghetti monster does not fit. It would have to be the true Christ.
Right. So, then that pretty much says majority of the Asian culture is going to hell, right?
No, what? I don't know.
Because as the moment we die, somebody showed us is I am the Almighty God, right? Okay, let's say that's the case, and then the Chinese guy is gonna go, oh, it's Buddha. Hi, Buddha.
Let's look at science. If God says that I am love, and God said, I created you to spend eternity with me. I'm giving you a free choice to spend eternity with me. If God created you out of love and he never gave you a chance to have a relationship with him, did he really love you?
No, not having a relationship doesn't mean he doesn't love you.
if not having a relationship sends you to eternal damnation, I think that's not love.
But that's the thing. Like, so if they come to that choice, right? Like they have a lifetime teaching of Buddhism. They went to Tibetan and learning all that stuff. When they died, they saw Jesus Christ. They're like, you're not the God that I pray to. So can I have Buddhism here? Does that make him go to hell?
A lack of Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. I didn't get saved till I was 30 years old. The Sunday before September 11, 2001 is when I accepted Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. Anytime before that, no matter if I would have been the perfect person, doing everything I was supposed to do, using some religion as my moral compass to be a great people to society and giving them everything and this and that, I still was missing the one thing, which was a relationship, because I can't work my way into heaven.
What?
See you, Martin.
I'll see you guys later.
All right, bye.
Bye, Martine.
So yeah, there's a lot of like loophole about how that's gonna work, because even if we see God or Jesus Christ at the end of our lifetime, doesn't mean that we'll believe it, but because what was access to us as teaching, right? So majority of the Asians don't have that, and then in the end we don't have a relationship with Jesus because we don't know this guy.
There are missionaries in Asia.
Yeah, just because you have missionary in Asia doesn't mean they have access to that. Even for Buddhism in China right now, they're tearing down temples. So if God wants to have missionary to do everything, shouldn't it'll be free access to everybody? But it's not the case, right? Not everybody has that. But then that take away for them to have relationship with God, free will, because even with the free will, no access.
That's a sticky point.
One problem I have is that we talk about the Bible, but I got a hold of my wife's Bible. She's Catholic, and here in Germany, and I noticed that she's got 10 more books in her Bible than
that's called the Apocrypha.
What again?
Called the Apocrypha.
It's called the Apocrypha.
I know. Before we get too far, before we go too far, we're already 1 hour over our regular thing. So I'm gonna cut it off here so that people who watch this doesn't have to go. Just so you know, if you watch to this point, you got way too much. Okay, rewind and stop. Rewind and stop. Okay, rewind and stop. So yeah, for the show, we'll talk next week. Hopefully next week.
What I mean about that though is that some people don't have access even, and don't even know.
But before we continue, James, let me cut off YouTube from here. So bye for everybody who's looking at YouTube. So I'm sorry that you had to look for an hour of this. But yeah, it's good knowledge. It's good knowledge. Okay? It's good knowledge. And then yeah, like Blue Collar Stick says, if you think that science has disproved that Davidoff is horrible.